Hey. Here we go. Woohoo!
Step inside the SmashBoxx with Johnny V and Terry Miller, the disc golf guy.
And hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast 175, the After Christmas Party. I'm your host, Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, working the computer controls of all of our broadcasts. All of them is always Johnny V. How are we doing tonight, Johnny?
Much better now that the computer got a quick restart.
All right. Well, we're here. I think it was large in part that we did not play the opening.
That's clearly
that
the problem.
clearly just shuts down the entire system.
Yeah.
If it doesn't see it and recognize it, we can't recreate all those hilarious jokes. I swear we had a bunch of them when we opened last time. The moment has
passed. Some of
passed.
the funniest things we've ever said.
I know. And we're glad that you guys could stick with us. Thank you so much. We appreciate your patience. 175 episodes in, and we can never guarantee it's going to go right. So we're here. We're all back and ready to go. I just mentioned on one of the boards, whether it was Facebook or YouTube, that just for that, I'm going to give away an additional towel tonight. We already talked about some extra giveaways that we're going to be doing tonight. If you're a Patreon supporter or if you're not, you have time to become one. But if you are a Patreon supporter, you're going to be eligible for some of our additional giveaways tonight. So, and there's going to be at least 3 or 4 or 5. I know typically we do one during our after show. Tonight we're going to have a handful of them just to be in that giving spirit. Thank you guys so much for being with us throughout when it does work and sometimes when it doesn't work. Looking forward to, of course, a great 2018 season as we're wrapping up this year. When Johnny gets back, we'll actually have to talk about if we're going to move forward in on January 2nd. I don't know why we wouldn't next week. So a couple of quick updates. It looks like hopefully everything is your connections are all going fine for starters. It does look like we won't have Dana here tonight. He and his family, or specifically his daughter, battling a little bit under the weather still. So his older daughter Edith is the one battling some sickness as she was last week. He sent me a picture today saying they were back at the office. And at the doctor's office, that is, and she was trying to fight off a little bit of a bug that she had. So it doesn't look like Dana's going to be here tonight. I also did reach out to Paul Ulibarri. And Paul, if you're still around or if you're interested, we'd love to talk to you. I know Paul is actually on the East Coast. I think he said he's off in North Carolina. He was concerned about some of the time zones. So if it works out for him, he may or may not be able to join us. What I think we should do is at some point have none other than Cool Daddy Slick Breeze step in. I know that they're talking about a monumental number coming up in their 200th podcast. So maybe at some point here tonight we can get Bobby Brown on the line and talk a little bit with him. We'd love to catch up with him and the Disc Golf Answer Man crew and all those guys. Again, a number of giveaways. We're going to be getting to those a little bit later. So if you're not already a Patreon supporter, please feel free to go out there. That's patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. So go out there, think about becoming a supporter at any level. That will make you eligible for the giveaways. So tonight, looks like it's going to be a little bit of a light crew. And as you can imagine, not a lot going on in the disc golf community. We've had a few updates that have taken place since last week. But otherwise, we haven't had too much going on. I'm going to start with we had the show Tuesday, of course, so by Wednesday or Thursday, I don't remember which day I left. I think it was Wednesday. Anyway, I had the pleasure of going to Wixom, Michigan. And for those who aren't familiar, Wixom, Michigan is the home of none other than Discraft. And for the first time ever, I was welcomed into the Discraft warehouse. I met up with my buddy Miles. Actually, we went over there Wednesday night to arrive on Thursday morning was really the plan. I took a train, which is another story. But got there on Thursday, immediately met up with Mike and with Bob and then Miles. and Nate Doss and Valerie Jenkins. And then we went, after getting a super quick tour of the facility, we went a few miles away over to an indoor field house, which was a massive sports complex with some kind of AstroTurf or some kind of fake turf and whatnot. Hundreds and hundreds of feet to throw in. And Nate and Val were testing out some discs, but also we were shooting a little bit of, we'll say, some promo pieces that ultimately another gentleman is going to do the editing on. So I was just there kind of capturing some footage, watching them throw the discs, test out some of their discs, talk about their line that they're going to have this year in terms of their Tour Series discs. It was a lot of fun. And from there, after we grabbed some lunch, we went back to the Discraft warehouse and got a little bit more of an in-depth tour. Got to walk around, see the tens of discs, hundreds, maybe there are thousands. I don't know. There was a few discs there, and some of the facility. And again, I want to thank Bob and Mike and everyone over at Discraft for welcoming us all to be there. Nate and Val were there for 2 or 3 or 4 straight days doing some work, and I know they stuck around for the holiday party that took place as well. But it was a lot of fun being there and checking out the facility, and then getting a little bit of this footage. Discraft, and I think part of the Pro Tour, along with Discraft, are going to be assembling some of those pieces so that we have some more promo pieces. And I know a lot of people, I think it was just Cool One last week that said something about, what I consider being their social media, their Bobby Brown of Discraft. And I think Discraft recognizes that the video is so important, not only just commercials, but little snippets and other pieces that need to be assembled. So I think this is just one of the ways that they're jumping on board and trying to commit. They were an industry leader at one point with all of the video that was out, the few videos that graced YouTube very early on, and now they've been a little bit absent from it. So I think you're going to start seeing some more stuff. So really looking forward to it. And again, thank you over there at Discraft. It was a lot of fun. Everything going good on the audio video side otherwise?
It appears to be.
Okay. Kurt asked if we were on a delay tonight. We had a technical difficulty. We'll call it that. So we were delayed just by a few minutes, but we're up and running now. So that was going on, and I think there was 1 or 2 other really things that jumped out at me, and of course I didn't write them down, but there was 1 or 2 other things that I think had taken place since last week. I think we talked about it. Yeah, we did talk about one of the team transitions. We're seeing a few people move around. Some were announced a few weeks ago, but nothing crazy on the team changes. Was there?
Peter McBride.
Peter McBride, yes. There it is. I'm sorry. Peter McBride was one of the few team changes that we heard of just after I think the podcast had gone down. Peter McBride announcing that he's going to be that he is now part of the Dynamic Disc family. And I know through a quick conversation with Steve Rico, he graciously wished Peter the best, and of course is going to very much miss him representing and being on the team. But Peter McBride announces that he's going to be part of Team Dynamic Disc. Now, Peter doesn't have a massive, presence online. He's a lot, and he travels kind of in the same circles as like a James Conrad.
Correct.
And he's one of those busy enjoying life instead of posting about stuff on the Facebooks.
He's a young, up-and-coming disc golfer that throws very far, like most of them do these days. And he's just all-around good. He's one of those players that, I've said enough people are top 5 this year. He's not quite there yet. But he's that top 10 player. Probably you're almost always seeing him finish between 7 to 10, if not jump up a little higher than that in a lot of the regional ones. But if he sticks with it, he's one of those guys that's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Correct. And Peter has also been known, he'll jump off the circuit a little bit. He'll go enjoy some sights or take in some parks or do some other things that are not just disc golf related. And I think that's what's going to help keep him fresh and excited and driven and motivated, is just trying to enjoy life, take in the country and everything it has to offer as you're going from coast to coast, and making it more about the overall experience rather than just playing every single weekend and grinding it out. And obviously that works for a lot of people, but Peter is just a very well-rounded individual and a lot of fun to be around, and super, super young. I keep giving him a hard time about just how young he is. I don't think we realize it with the new generation of players that's coming along. You think about Peter and you think about Austin Turner and some of these young guns. They got a lot of golf ahead of them, so hopefully to see them pace themselves as we go. Speaking of Austin Turner, real quickly, it was on somewhere. I follow him on Instagram, follow him out there on Facebook. I think he's just giving away a bunch of stuff. So there's one of my pro tips of the day. I know he's in the process of just giving away stuff. I've seen him posting about it. So go out there and follow him, and you might get something for free from him. All right. Bobby, I'm going to reach out to you offline, but not really since we're here. If you do want to talk tonight, I think your fans would love it.
Bobby has fans?
Yeah, that's what I hear. Either that or they all... Yeah, no, that's what I hear is he's got a lot of fans. I know there's a lot of good stuff going on over there with Dynamic Disc. Real quick, I'm going to give a quick shout out. Speaking of Dynamic Disc now, we'll transition. As a state coordinator, which I'm again this year, Dynamic Disc graciously, just really out of thin air, said, we want to thank and recognize our state coordinators. And I know there's 50 state coordinators. Actually, I think there's more than that because I think like NorCal and SoCal possibly even have 2 because of the size of the state.
That would make sense. I could see Texas
I believe
having
Texas has multiple. They might have like 20. No, they probably have 2 or 4 state coordinators. But what arrived recently, like in the last day or so, is this gorgeous, and as you can see, I'm already wearing a gray sweatshirt. But I got this great.
You've got a lot of gray sweatshirts.
2 or 3. But this is a sweatshirt that arrived. I think this is on the back left. Am I looking at the screen correctly here? On the back left, there's a little basket that says, what's it say? Dynamic Disc or Be Dynamic?
Be Dynamic.
Yep, Be Dynamic. But anyway, also though, and this is like a tech version, I'm guessing, of some sorts. It says endurance. So I'm guessing that's one of the lines. This is an OGO sweatshirt, and it feels really nice. Yeah, OGO endurance. And there's something on the sleeves, which is really cool. They also put on here some little bit of advertising for the for the United States Amateur Match Play Championships. So I know some of you have heard about that, heard it been kind of discussed in one way or another. But they put that right here on the sweatshirt and then sent this out to all state coordinators. I'm guessing they sent it to probably some other reps around the country. And then with a lengthy letter that, said, thanks for doing what you do. Talked about they're going to have the Junior World Championships this year. Talked about, obviously, the 1,600 plus people that are registered for Glass Blown. And then talked about the Match Play Championships. So very cool. Thank you to Dynamic Disc. I was thinking 50 state coordinators and whatever their cost is, not even just retail, but whatever their cost is, and then had those all printed out and then shipped them to every single person that's a state coordinator. And then, like I said, probably some maybe some international and or some Canada providences or whatever. Very, very generous of Dynamic Disc. So thank you guys. That's all I can say. That it's a very nice sweatshirt.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's really nice.
All those years of being state coordinator finally paid off.
That Disc Golf Rich at its finest. Like 17 years in, and I get a sweatshirt. So no, and that's not real quick. I also do want to shout out the PDGA in the last, I think, 2 years now. So I think for 2017 and I think for 2018, the PDGA has in fact waived or covered the PDGA membership for state coordinators. So in theory, my membership, which kind of for me personally comes at a great time because depending on how you look at it, no matter what, I'd always pay for my PDGA membership. However,
and from what we've seen, numerous other people's first-time memberships.
Sure, so that too. But seeing that I'm down to playing 1 or 2 events, if I were to do that math, even though I don't look at it that way personally, but if I were to do that math, yeah, the $75 is not something I'm getting out of it in terms of playing 7 or 8 sanctioned events. But it's a very generous offer, and as you said, I think I'll just take any money that was waived on my behalf, and I usually pass that on to buying a handful of memberships for people throughout the year anyway. Lucy Vichy being the most recent recipient. So, all right. What else do we got on going on there, Johnny?
There's not a lot going on. I was just checking the PDGA events from this past weekend. You know, filling in for Dana's spot. There really wasn't a lot going on.
Okay.
6 sanctioned events this past weekend. There's a flex start on Friday. The Innova Elf Factory shootout over in Georgia, which Kevin McCoy took down.
Yeah, I think there was some kind of I'm not sure the details on that, but I know he reached out to me, and I apologize, Kevin, that I didn't follow up. But there was some kind of, like, we'll say global type processing to that, I think. I think it was to try and use different areas.
Okay. And yeah, that's the extent of our events.
Well, one gentleman, and Tom McManus has brought this to our attention, and it's probably overdue at some point. I think we're going to have a conversation with out of Texas with Emerson Keith, PDGA 47472. He's currently rated 998, which isn't the most impressive part of his online resume. It's instead, now of course the sheet's not there. I think he's played something like 60 or 70 events this year.
Wow.
Now, I'm going to go ahead, and as soon as I said that, I wish I would have had it in front of me. Trying to help me out there. I appreciate that, PDGA. So 47472. And he is listed as having, why am I not? 67 events this year. Now, as you just said, Steve Story, I know, runs a lot of flex start events that are on Fridays. I think they call it
That's got to be a PDGA record, correct?
It's got to be. And I'm looking right now at how many of these include the flex starts. And so I'll admit the number is a little bit, it's still an event. It's still a one-round event, and it's still PDGA sanctioned. But I'm looking at at least 2, 3... I'm seeing Flex Star Friday this week, that week. Yeah, he travels to quite a few of those. In fact, if I had to do, I'm going to say at least 15 of them. So I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but maybe, 1, 2.
Counting live
13,
on the air.
14, 15. I know it doesn't get any better than that. Wow, 15. 15. So, 16, 17. So a lot of those are flex starts, but he's currently listed at overall at 72 sanctioned events. Let's just round the number to 20 of flex starts. That's still 52 sanctioned events besides all these flex starts.
I don't know what to say. I mean, the guy is...
Oh, I don't know. Did you see the number? How much do you think he's won this year?
Oh, I think I saw it. I think it was about 15,000.
All right. He's looking at about 13,000.
13,000. So, I mean, that's an amazing number in general. That's a dedication that few people have, because that's out in Texas, which means a lot of those drives aren't just, an hour long. Those could be 3, 4, 5 hour drives when you're talking Texas of flat land, flat, boring land in Texas. So congratulations to him. And he's getting his PDGA membership.
Bang for his buck.
Bang for his buck. The dollars make sense.
Yes, they certainly do. So Lance Brown is on the board saying, I'm at 53 events, saying that Lance has played 53 events. And Lance impressively posted about his first hole at least 50 out of the 53 events. And 49 of those didn't go well. Are those your numbers, Lance? So anyway, very cool. It's like you said, a lot of dedication, playing that much. My next click has to be how many rounds are counting then toward his rating is what I would like to know. Yeah, so in his last ratings update, as of December 12th, he had 130 rounds used in his rating, and his rating is at 998.
I don't think I've had 130 rounds in my past 10 years.
You probably haven't. So very, very cool. I think of someone else who's traveled a lot, and he's a smashy and a great all-around guy, Jeff Hungerford out of Colorado. He's been traveling around quite a bit. PDG number 688, and he's eligible, I think, to play in senior grands. I won't put my foot in my mouth there. But played open just a few weeks ago even, but eligible. He's rated 951. I think he said he's 62 years old. Sorry, I'm calling you out there, Jeff. He's got 110 rounds on his rating. So a ton of golf, and it's just awesome to see these guys getting into it that much. Wow. How many events does Jeff have? It looks like he's near about 50 events this year as well.
72 career wins.
Yeah.
That's no joke.
And some of those definitely came prior to official scoring. Again, when your PDG number 688, there's a few things that got lost in the shuffle at one time or another. So, all right. So that's what we're seeing out there. Year's coming to a close this weekend. Did you see how many are on the schedule for this weekend? This weekend's going to be a little bit more accessible in that.
Well, New Year's Eve is on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So you can still get out, have an event on Saturday, maybe even a 2-day event Saturday, Sunday, and still have a chance to go out and, maybe catch the ball drop on Sunday night.
Exactly. So this weekend, you see at least a dozen or so PDGA events scheduled throughout the weekend.
14 or so.
Okay.
We've got a couple B tiers, Texas and Florida. The rest are C tiers or XC tiers. Looks like Austin, Texas has the ATX Open, where I believe the highest rated player is Bradley Williams. No surprise, going to play that. Probably go out and get a nice little win there to finish off the year. And then you've got the 2017 Florida Disc Golf Championship presented by Disc Golf Center.
Mm-hmm.
And that right now only has 4 players, with Charlie Goodpasture the ratings leader in that particular event.
Okay. Let me...
I'm seeing a couple Jersey events, and it's cold. Like, it's cold out.
Yeah.
All this stuff is pushing east. I can only imagine it's going to be bitter out there at that point.
And this weekend also on Sunday, the 31st, I think this might be my first ever sanctioned flex start event. And now, as you just mentioned, with it being cold out, I think I made the right call. rather than it being 2 rounds, committing the full day on the 31st, which I've done for many of the previous years. This year, having the flex start, you're out there, you get 1 round in, you can do it at your leisure, you can do it when you're fully warmed up. Yeah. I think I'm taking registrations from like 10 to 2 or 9 to 2. Get out there, you play your 1 round, and then you can call it. Go home, check the stats, see where everything shakes out later. Really, it's more about earning points for this event than anything, I would say. With just the 2 divisions I'm going to offer, all pros in 1 division, and then all advanced will be listed under another division. But with it being as cold as it's going to be this weekend, I think I feel a little bit better about being a single day flex start.
I don't blame you.
All right. Disc Golf Championships. Oh, Dad's Drunk is saying that the Florida Disc Golf Championships is by invitation only, and that's why the numbers are low. So I think there was a series of events that took place throughout the year that then leads you or brings you into being qualified for it.
They have 72 players. It's just that the open field is 4, Masters is 4, Grandmasters is 6, Advanced is 6. So it's really spread out throughout the divisions. It's almost like a championship round for all the people who qualified, it appears.
Okay. Makes sense. Anything crazy for Christmas for you this weekend?
No, we did a lot of traveling, as we always do. We went up north to Sturgeon Bay, which is about 2.5 hours north. Spent a day or 2 there, then went to Appleton, spent a day there, and came back home. Nothing too crazy. Just trying to think if there was any... I got a couple puzzle books. My in-laws, every year, they get me it's kind of a tradition at this point. They get me puzzle books because it's the thing I usually do before I go to sleep. I'll open up one of those word find it's or crossword puzzles or logic puzzles. I'll sit and just do that for about 10 minutes until my brain shuts down. And so I got a stack of those. And I got a couple, I got some cash and gift cards for, I said that I'd like a set of wireless earphones. And my mother-in-law, she's like, "Oh, that's a great gift. I can get that for you." And I said, "Well, the ones I want, they're like $150.
Mm.
And she looked at me and she went, yeah, I don't think so. How about I give you some cash or a gift card? And I said, that's perfect. I will spend it on that and we'll all be happy. So how about you? Did you?
I got headphones.
You got headphones.
Instead of borrowing my daughter, so I've got a couple pair of headphones. I always leave these here so I never forget them, and I'm glad to use them. But I've had a couple pairs of headphones, just like $30 Sony headphones. And at one point in the last few years, I had bought my daughter a pair that were white, but more importantly, they had for the same price, they eventually had a built-in wire or a built-in microphone. And so sometimes when I want to do certain things, I've asked to just borrow her headphones. Well, this year for Christmas, I got my own. So I'm excited actually to plug them into my phone to see how the sound quality is, because I've got a couple of podcast ideas, and I'm wondering, and one of which for sure will require phone calls and phone conversations. So I'm wondering if the quality is good enough on my end with those. Then I'll obviously just have to work with somebody on the other end, but hopefully be able to record directly to my phone using that setup in order to do one of the podcasts that I have an idea for.
What my wife doesn't know, she's upstairs right now, is that I ordered a brand new stove for the house. So,
it's hot.
I know.
Hey-oh.
We don't plan on living here very much, so I got a cheap stove.
Okay.
But I mean, still $500 stove. She's been complaining that the other one, I mean, this one, the one we have upstairs, is almost 20 years old.
Oh, it doesn't heat real evenly, does it?
That's what she's been saying.
Yeah.
So
that's what she's been saying.
Yeah. And so on Friday, it's going to be surprisingly dropped off here. I'll be coming in to do a delivery. So that was my big gift.
You are such a sweetheart.
Oh, yeah, I know. Keep my wife in the kitchen.
Yeah. Right. I'm not going to
I know. There's nowhere. My wife loves to bake, and she loves to make desserts. She's very good at it. Explains a lot on my side. But so that's the big gift this year, was a new stove.
All right. One thing I did get, and this may be a little more for after show stuff, but I received, one of the things I got was an Amazon Echo Dot. And I'm excited to set that up within the household to see how that interacts. I know a lot of people go with the original Google Home or an Alexis, and then they have these little satellites like the smaller Google one, or the Amazon. Yeah, I think it's the Google Dot or the Amazon Echo. I have the Echo, and I'll be interested to see how that works out, but I haven't gotten around to getting it set up yet.
We went to a Christmas party, and they have, I guess, I don't know, they have an Alexa that's sitting right next to their Google Home.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah.
it's right, and they're trying to play music, and someone's like, "No, you have to ask for music on the Alexa because that's what we have streaming through, and the Google Home does this, and so whatever." I've made it my my life's goal now. Every time I go over there, I'm going to say, I don't want to say it on here because it might set off, okay, G, call me, and change the name that it calls them every time I'm there. Like, I had it say, call me dirty, dirty girl. So whenever it welcomes them or whenever, it's like, welcome home, dirty, dirty girl. So every time I go there, I'm going to change it to something. And it has to, unfortunately, be semi-children appropriate because their kids are around and things like that. So I can't get too bad. But I think I'm going to teach my son there because he's there every Tuesday. She watches him after school. So I'm going to have him change it every Tuesday, with whether they like it or not. So
the other big conversation taking place in disc golf, or a number of conversations that are going on, is there seems to be an outright online battle with regard to some of the top shots of the year. Have you been seeing this? I think one of them.
Here's my issue with this. It's a great thing to have. Ultra World is doing like best putt, best ace, best drive,
best air shot,
best roller, whatever.
Yep.
It is, I mean, I guess with all things, it's just a popularity contest.
Well, no, that's
with the person. Now, I'll say this. I haven't the shots that won or are winning, Simon's shot on at the GBO, I think it's hole 9 that he parked at par 4. Hands down the winner, as it should be, I think. And here's the thing I have. You've got like Eagle and Paul which both have huge social media followings, out there pushing themselves and their fans to vote for their shots, which I get and I understand. To me, it just feels not disingenuous. I would be pushing.
Skewed?
I would rather see someone like Eagle or Paul say, "Hey, go out there and vote for the best shot that you think," rather than, I mean, and I understand Paul who went out there and said, "Hey, let's make it a me against me shot." And if those were the two best ones, to be fair, that particular grouping I didn't look at, so
Sure.
I can't
Either
judge.
did I. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It just, there was something, to me it just feels a little bit hollow. I would almost rather see there be like a fan vote and an editor's picks. Say, hey, this is the one we think is the best one or the top two, but our fans voted on this one. Or maybe get a group of, and I don't want to just say media, but pros and media and maybe even PDGA members, and just kind of say, hey guys, this is kind of a side vote. You tell us which ones you think are the best, rather than just make it a straight out popularity contest.
Yeah. And here's the funny part. I know up until recently, Nicholas Masters hitting the pole at Vibram for his air shot, as opposed to Simon Lizott's GBO Eagle that took place on hole 9, Nicholas was winning. And then there's been a mild uproar like, oh my God, how is he winning? I think some people were just being the anti-vote because
it's
call us bias or not. I don't care. I think, as you said, anyone with their right mind, and I love Nicholas especially after just spending a whole weekend watching him play. But Simon's shot, the accuracy and the distance and the completion of it, ultimately, like everything to make for his third eagle in the round, everything about that.
Did we talk about this last week at all?
I don't think so.
So here's my only issue with Simon's shot.
Is this no big deal to Simon because he can do that whenever he wants?
Not at all.
So it's not impressive to him?
Not at all.
Because Simon doesn't impress himself anymore?
Yeah, that too. That shot was...
Don't you dare say wide open.
No. 60% skill, 40% luck. To me. He crushed one down there knowing that he had OB to play with. If he comes up a little short, he's probably over the green. If he goes long, he still has a tap-in birdie. Now, he put it in the perfect spot. It was a perfect throw. But when you unleash a drive that hard and that far,
there's an element of accuracy you're giving up.
Yeah, exactly. You are not being able to accurately place that within 20 feet.
Okay.
Simon got lucky and landed in the right spot. Now, had he gone 15 feet further, he's OB. Had he gone 15 feet shorter, he's probably OB on that road or however it came in. Now, again, it's an amazing shot. It deserves to win, hands down. It's better than any other shot we've seen this year. So I'm not trying to take that away from Simon. All I'm saying is that I think that shot had a little bit more element of luck to it than some of the other contenders.
Okay.
That's all. And again, that all goes into why you vote for it, because it was an amazing shot. So,
well, I think the tide has officially turned right now after just clicking on it. This is out on discgolf.altaworld.com. The shot has 53.75% of the votes at 4,757 votes, as opposed to 4,094 votes. So now Simon, by a margin of about 5%, 5.5% to 6%, has the lead. But I think that wasn't until recently, and I'm not sure when the polling ends for this.
Sure,
but yeah.
Someone's Rick Crushane is asking if we have video. The funny thing about that shot, there's no good video of it because nobody was prepared for where he was going to put it.
I mean, Central Coast has him teeing.
And then just where it ends up, but you can't see it. I thought that we had another angle on that. I couldn't find it. I looked for it the other day. I couldn't exactly find it. But it's, like I said, go out and check out altaworld.com. You can see all the clips there. They'll show you. You can do all the voting, whatever you need. And again, it's a phenomenal shot. It deserves a shot of the year. But I'm for anyone that thinks that is 100% skill, you're out of your gourd. There is an element of luck into that. But again, best shot in the world.
Tom McManus is calling you out.
That's fine. Tom can call
60% skill. Ha! 1% of the top pros can even make that shot.
Correct. I mean, there's probably, I could see him, Eagle, Paul might be able to get that distance. It's slightly downhill.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a matter of hitting that angle. You know, I want to say not Wiggins. I kept thinking Watkins. Wiggins could make that. I'm just saying that to put it in that tight of a spot is lucky.
Okay,
that's it.
Fair enough.
And I am a little crazy. I'm just also a little realistic.
I think 60% is a little on the strong side. Or I'm sorry, on the weak side when you're saying that's skill and there's 40% luck.
70-30, sure. Somewhere between there.
I don't know.
Because that is... Now, had he played it to the safe side off to the right and ended up that distance where you have more room, I think we saw Johnny McRae there on a second shot. It was like 80 feet off to the right if you're looking at it from the tee box.
He was right, was he not? He was right of the basket.
He was right of the basket, but only by about 20 feet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying if he's further right where there's a lot more opening, then I say, yes, he crushed it down there. That's a great drive. And if he hits like a 50-foot putt or a 60-foot putt.
So you're saying,
but
just
I'm saying
to be clear,
where he put it in between the two OBs and that one little island, that was a little lucky.
Okay. So you're saying had he been further away, it would have been a more skillful shot.
I said
That's what
he would
you
have been
just
more.
said.
He would have been. I'm guessing if he would have been aiming over in that direction, I would say that was more accurate.
All right. Well, thankfully, there's no more of a GBO guru and expert than Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, Bobby Brown. And it sounds like he is ready on Skype. It sounds like we're going to be able to bring him in. I'd love to get his official take on said shot.
I love Bobby's picture on Skype.
He looks so tough.
He does. He looks like a badass.
Yeah, he does. Well, that's because he is, really. So if he can hear us...
hold on one second.
In a moment, we'll be able
to do one thing here.
And I think we should be able to get him...
Hold on one second, Bobby.
I think we should make Bobby go through the portion of the... I think we should have him go through a no audio intro as well, where we don't have him on.
It's having a problem grabbing Skype here.
Yeah, we'll have him in a second.
Hold on one second, Bobby.
And
we're having all sorts of fun computer issues today.
As usual, it's not me, it's you.
It is me.
And Johnny just has to get one or two things dialed up here.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't love Skype. It doesn't love Skype.
All right.
Hold on one second.
Rick asked if there was
hang
no
up
OB.
Tell Bobby I'm going to hang up on him.
Is it still lucky? So to answer you, if there was no OB, is it still lucky?
If there's no OB at all, then it's just a crush. Yeah. I mean, yeah, then I would say there's less luck to it. I mean, it all depends on where where he's trying to land. And if he was trying to land in that exact spot and he hit it, awesome. You know, more power to him, and he can come on the show and he can tell us, like, yeah, that's exactly where I was aiming. I hit it exactly what I wanted to. Awesome. I'm just saying that I find that hard to believe at that distance from that angle. Yeah, Skype is just
Johnny Bigfoot. That's a legit question. Says, has Simon nailed that line in practice? I feel like he said he hadn't practiced that shot, but I don't know if that is in fact the case or not.
I don't know why everything's being as wonderful.
And we are in fact working. Johnny here's frantically trying to get things dialed back in with Bobby Brown, so we'll get him on in a second. He was with us a moment ago, but he couldn't hear us. Excuse me. So it looks like we're going to be having him.
Let's dial him up again.
Christy is concerned that Simon's not there with Ricky and Paul because of his mental game.
All right, Bobby. We got to do one more thing. And you should.
All right. I think we should be.
Still no audio, Bobby.
Just about good to go here
Bobby,
any
can you hear us
second.
now?
All right, Bobby, you there, buddy?
That sounds like a no.
We see you. You're officially joined us on screen, but we don't hear you. Well, I hear you. Do you hear us?
I'm not sure why he's not. I'm looking at.
We see you, buddy.
I see you. Hold on. This is. Speaker.
All right, we're gonna make this work.
This is so much fun.
Supposedly, Bobby does IT and video work over at DD.
Supposedly he does.
We can hear.
Oh. Okay, hold on 1 second. I think I figured out what the problem is. Why? I don't know. Literally everything has reset on me.
Hey there. All right, sounds like we can hear Bobby. I think we can welcome him, maybe even get video of him in a moment. Once Johnny applies a few changes here. Click, click.
All right, Bobby, you got us now?
All right, we are good to go. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, buddy. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing very good. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. So just to throw it out there, just a few weeks ago, you were talking about some live equipment with Johnny and I and a few other people. I mean, this is easy as it gets. I mean, look at how smooth we do this. 175 episodes in.
No, man. I tell you what, I got to leave it up to you guys because, I bought some live equipment so we could do some live stuff in the studio. And the testing was fine. Everything was good to go. And then the big night, the whole reason we were testing it, then it was just everything was buffering. It was stuttering. It was pixelated. And I was like, I was pulling my beard hair out because that's the only hair I have. And I was like, I think I even said it out loud at one point when we were done. I was like, this is why I don't like live. SmashBoxx, you guys take live. This is why I don't like live. But we'll get it figured out because we're not going to do any podcasting and stuff like that live. I want to do some more presentations with Jeremy whenever we have new releases and things in the warehouse. We want to do more of the live type stuff and have fun with that. And even when we go outside of the warehouse and sometimes test out discs, I want to be able to have a nice camera with me to go live. Because I know one of the things that people say when I do it on my phone, they can't hardly see the discs when they fly. So we want to be able to track those with a nice camera. But I'm still trying to work out all the bugs with the live.
It's a lot of fun. And then, like even before the show, when we were silent for whatever reason, all I had to do is reboot the computer. Everything came on. We jumped right back on. I didn't get a chance to test one or two of the other things I've got working, which is why Skype was suddenly freaking out, and so I had to restart, a different service. And it's always live is always so much fun, which is why usually for most of our live events we're able to do a little bit more pre-work than our normal Tuesday night Yahoo stuff.
Yeah. But aren't you guys getting excited for 2018 and get that started as far as getting out there and getting to some events? Man, I was watching some of the vlog stuff I watched that has nothing to do with disc golf, but just people I like to watch on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, I can't wait to get to 2018 and get out there and start doing some disc golf adventure type stuff. And I got to imagine you guys are just as excited.
It feels like it's such a long break, but it's really not. I mean,
no, it's not.
We're starting up at the Memorial, which is,
almost two months away.
2 months away.
Almost to the day.
And I feel like we've been down forever. I don't know. It's just it's going to be here way too soon for me, and then I'm going to be panicking with about 2 weeks to go that I want to do about 100 more things.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're actually going to go. I think me, Jeremy, and Eric. I think Robert McCall is going to go out there, but I think we're going to be out there for about a week, so we can kind of do some stuff with some of the team members and some of the newer team members that we have on the team and stuff like that. So. It's going to be a nice time in Arizona, spending a week out in that nice weather. I can't wait for it.
So we obviously talk quite a bit about team transitions. We've seen dynamic discs. I would say whether they were aggressive or not, I don't know, but it seems like they've been the most successful in attracting and gaining some new talent this year, or some transitions over to the Dynamic Disc team. We mentioned a few moments ago Peter McBride being one of the most recent pickups. I think there's even a secret pickup that hasn't been announced that I can't spoil, but I think there's another another acquisition that's maybe the deal's even been inked. Maybe
I would say actually there's about 2 more that I'm aware of.
Okay.
That should make a splash in the disc golf world. That I'm very excited. Of course, I'm excited about everybody that obviously joins the family, joins the team. But for some of the people that are more in the media eye and stuff like that, I was obviously very excited to have Peter McBride and Zoe and Dyke and Dustin Keegan. But there's 2 other names out there that I'm sure the viewers will recognize them, and can't say anything yet. Don't want to get them in trouble or anything, but want to make sure that everything's in line and ready to go for 2018. But there's 2 more names I can think of that I know for sure that you should hear something in the next week or so.
John and Terry. Who knew it? Who knew it?
There it is. There it is.
So don't like give away their names or their initials. Just give us like their PDGA number as a hint.
Oh, that'll work. 553-398.
So I know of at least one, and now let me ask: when you guys are talking about, I think of an Eric and a Tina who, of course, have really grown in front of the camera and have become, vloggers and doing what they're doing. When I think about a Peter, and we kind of joked about it on the show earlier, Peter's always living life and not usually too wrapped up in his social media presence. Do you feel like that's something that you will help or assist with, or is that something that's kind of gently encouraged that you become more active, or is it relatively hands off and you tell someone like a Peter, keep doing what you're doing. We're not worried about it.
You know what? There's actually 2 levels in my mind. There's 2 levels of I like to call influence, and so you have the level where you have some guys that they're not really well known. They don't go to a lot of the Disc Golf Pro Tours or the national tours, but they are very influential and have an impact on the local scene. And so if that's your thing, if you like to remain quiet and just play your game, that's fine. But then you have like your Eric and Tinas that they love helping people. They love doing clinics. Zoe and Dustin love spreading the word of disc golf in their own different ways. And they'll do that in front of a camera. They'll do that in front of a big crowd. So the way I look at it is my job is I simply amplify what you're doing. So if you're more on the quiet type and you just want to play your game and you just want to do maybe a few clinics or not even really do that, I might take a few pictures. I might ask you to do a few videos and stuff like that. But if you want to get in front of the camera and do a bunch of tutorials and do a bunch of things on YouTube and Facebook, then that's what I'm here for. So I don't know that I push, but I might suggest. In fact, I've even done a few videos. We have a secret Facebook group that allows our team members to talk. I'm sure all the other manufacturers do exactly the same. But I've even gotten on there and done even little social branding and social media tutorials for them to figure out how they want to build themselves as a brand, or maybe just be able to reach out locally to people in their local area and using Facebook and social media, how to do that. So really it's whatever level they're on, I'll work with them on whatever level they are on.
Okay. Now, I've kind of made comments, and this is in conversations we've had, or just after a number of years being at the same company, you have a little bit of a narrow hallway in which you're doing your media. Of course, it's going to be DD-centric or maybe as wide as Trilogy-centric, but for the most part, kind of DD-centric. When you have someone new join the team, that's got to be just one of many things that can keep your job new and fresh, besides, playing with all the technologies and always increasing your video game and your ideas. Having new people to work with has got to be something that helps out.
Absolutely. I mean, as soon as I heard down the pipeline that Zoe and Dustin were coming on board, I mean, I knew that they worked with schools and stuff like that. Immediately, I was like, man, when's their next time they're going to a school? Because I want to get out there. I want to capture that on video. I want to tell their story through our media channels. And then the 2 other people that I'm thinking of right now, I know that how active they are and the things they do. And again, I just want to go in there and I just want to amplify what they do and make people more aware of it. and bring people's attention to it. So yeah, every time when we get new people, or even people that we've had for a while, I know in the background, some of the people that maybe you don't hear about, they want to do more in terms of maybe writing blog articles or doing things on our Snapchat channel. So yeah, there's each individual player has their own little flavor, and each one of them brings new challenges and new ways to get out there and tell people what's going on.
So what is, and I know you and I kind of literally and metaphorically subscribe to a number of different similar people, but right now, what do you see as your favorite media out there? Medium maybe is the better word for sharing stuff. You dabble in everything, but there's Facebook, there's Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, all of the the obvious ones, or we'll say the more mainstream ones. What's your favorite thing to operate in? What's your favorite platform?
People love it, people hate it, but you just cannot not be on Facebook. They're at 1.5 billion people on Facebook. Facebook is a monster. And I'm sure you've heard this term before, Terry, because you follow some of the same people as far as social media influencers. But Facebook is underpriced as far as getting out there and promoting stuff, because they have such a reach and they have such a way to be able to find specific people that you want to reach out to. So you can't dismiss Facebook. It's interesting, though, because, on the Disc Golf Management podcast, we run contests and stuff like that. And every now and then, I'll do contests where you have to post something on Facebook to kind of show people that you want to be in the contest. And I'll get every now and then someone say, well, I'm not on Facebook. And I really really? How are you not on Facebook? I get it. I understand. On one side of the coin, I understand. I get it. Facebook's the big monster, so they want to stay with it. But the other side of me is like, everybody's on Facebook. How do you not communicate with people and not be on Facebook? So I guess Facebook. But the big thing that I'm going for in 2018 is a trend I'm noticing, and that's messaging. The Facebook messengers, the direct messages on Instagram. And in fact, I even have a new thing where people can I give out my phone number and they can actually text message me, and I can send them messages via text messaging. Another term that people are saying, it's going down in the DMs, it's going down in direct messages. So a lot of what's happening is more of that one-to-one, where I'm chatting with people, not necessarily blasting or broadcasting something on Instagram or Facebook. I'm chatting with them on the direct messages or through Facebook Messenger. So I think that's going to be one of our target things, is chatting with people through Facebook Messenger or text messaging type stuff.
I'm going to throw something out there. I don't know if you've messed around with it all. It's something I've been curious about in general. Have you delved into Discord or Slack? I mean, Slack we've all been on a little bit here and there. Have you been on Discord at all?
No, isn't that it? What is that like? No, I was thinking of Discuss. No, not Discord. I think Anthony. Everybody knows him, Anthony DG Weekly. He has done some stuff on Discord, and I know that there's kind of a little bit of a disc golf community growing on there.
Yeah.
And he's kind of been dabbling on that, and he showed it to me how it functions and stuff like that. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Reddit, maybe a tiny bit, but I know it has its own little way of doing things, but he's been kind of messing with it, not so much me though.
Okay, that's one of the things that I kind of want to do a little bit more of in the new year. It's more of a community. It kind of keeps your community together when you're not necessarily online or broadcasting and things like that. So for, we'll just say Disc Golf Answer fans or Smashies to have like a Discord for themselves to do, whatever, off kind of, not so, I wouldn't say off the record, but a little bit more away from social media. So
yeah, I'm looking at that.
I'm not gonna lie. A few days ago, I was about to screenshot one of your messages that pops up on my phone that says Bobby Brown or Dynamic Disc is going live, and by about the 45th notification, I was about one click away from saying unfollow. You've been playing around. You've been testing some stuff. What exactly have you been working on there? Why did I keep getting these alerts every 4 minutes?
Because of we were going live where we were talking about the United States Amateur Match Play Championship, which we were very excited at Dynamic Disc. And I had bought you guys know it's called the Terra Deck, and I'm sure your listeners have heard you talk about Terra Deck. So I bought one of those, and I was reading up on it. I asked Johnny V some questions about it, and there were certain there were certain audio things I wanted to make sure the audio, because I didn't want to use just the onboard camera audio because it sounds like you're in a hallway or something. So I was trying different things, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to have fun with it, and I'm just going to test and go live. I'm not even going to what they call, sandboxing it, where it's only me. I'm just going to show everybody my testing and have fun with it. So we would test something out, and it would work really good, and then we'd walk away, and I go, oh, well, but what if we took this microphone and hooked it up to here and did that? Okay, we're going live again. See what it sounds like. So we'd go live like 10 minutes later. And so after a while, I thought, people probably get sick of me going live. But like I said, we got everything fixed with the audio, and then we went live with the big Q&A, and then the stupid video was buffering and everything. That was driving me crazy.
So I apologize that I missed it. Give us the cliff notes on the Q&A. Earlier in the show, I thanked you guys for the awesome OGO sweatshirt that I received, and then I saw it had the Match Play logo on it, and it came along with a sheet that kind of talks about, kind of not quite a year in review of DD, but a few things that are going on with DD. What does everyone need to know about the Match Play Championships?
I'll be totally honest with you. I don't know a lot about Match Play, other than you get into brackets and play. I mean,
okay.
I know that Doug and Jeremy are very excited about this. We have a website, discgolfmatchplay.com, where you get all kinds of information on it. But it's kind of going to be I know it's on the amateur level. I know there's certain ratings, restrictions, or requirements and stuff like that. But basically, the way I understand is that each state's going to have about 16 representatives. They're going to play, and they're going to work through a bracket, and then we'll invite. I can't remember how many we'll invite. And I believe we're going to figure out a way to get those people to come to Emporia to do the Match Play Championships. And then the winner's going to win like $1,000 worth of store credit to DD, and then like discs for life. So you get like $500 a year credit every year after the whole championship. So it's a whole big thing that Doug Bierkus is very excited about. And I probably should learn more about it so I can talk about it better when I talk to people.
Bobby, I mean, I don't expect you to know everything.
Right, yeah. So
when it comes to, you mentioned, a website and stuff like that, where are you in the world of websites? Is that stuff that you actively involved with, or is website content and website development, is that an entirely separate department over there?
That's a separate department. That's one of the cool things with Dynamic Disc is that we're very fortunate that we have very talented people there. And Clay is one of the, we like to call one of the originals at DD. He was one of the original people that started with Jeremy Rusko, and he likes to dabble into website stuff. So he does all that type stuff. Now I've done WordPress sites and things like that a long time ago, but when it comes to websites right now, I can edit a page or two to kind of help, but other than that, I don't do much with the website stuff.
And it's been
you
really
looking to hire.
No, yeah.
Jeez.
I think you need. Do we need money to hire? Yeah, you need money. So what I think has been great throughout your transition, of course your job and your career before getting into disc golf full time, which was IT, doing IT stuff, but then website stuff and video work with DD, and then now you're to a point where you have a certain focus, and like you said, you guys have other qualified individuals to go and take care of. By all means, all of us at one point were kind of that one guy, and we had to take care of all of those things, whether that meant audio, video, website, everything that related to any of those platforms. And now the fact that you can dial in and focus on what you've got is great.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm sorry, go ahead. You had a question?
No, go aheed.
No, I was going to say, you talk about, my journey up to what I'm doing right now. And it reminded me of somebody, I hope I'm not calling him out. I won't say the name, but they posted a question on our Disc Golf Answer Man Facebook group about him wanting to start something in social media. He's been kind of holding back. And my answer to him was, man, just do it, because anybody can grab some kind of camera and get started with social media. I think it's amazing that I've been able to create a career out of it, and I'm still able to do it. Jeremy allows me to have fun and do my thing. He says as long as you make us keep us looking cool, he's good with whatever I want to do. But it's just amazing how, I mean, look, everybody has the power to as long as they have the time or want to take the time to learn how to do it, they can do it. and they can create a career out of it. And just like what you guys have done, I think it's amazing.
Well, there's, like you said, there's no shortage of opportunities out there. Now, someone last week had said, I mentioned that I was going to be visiting the Discraft factory, and Nate and Val were over there doing some really cool stuff. And someone had asked if I was presented with, and thankfully didn't start any rumors or anything, but if I was presented with becoming kind of the Bobby Brown over at Discraft, I think that's one thing that they recognize they can be a little challenged is their social media. And I love what you do, but you and I have kind of talked about it. Like you said, you're in that hallway, and you have a lot of latitude, pardon the pun, to do a lot of different things, but it's still kind of all, it's for one company, in one specific direction. Could you do the reverse, you think, at some point? Could you be kind of more of a global guy and be doing just, we'll say, media, disc golf media in general? Could you ever see yourself kind of going the opposite direction from where you are now? And that's not to say you're quitting DD or anything silly, but
No. Could I? I mean, there are times when in my mind I've thought, I could be maybe traveling more and going to more events that I choose exactly to go to if I didn't have, to focus on DD. There are certain ideas I've had that I could do more because I would have maybe, a different type of access to more players.
Sure.
Not that I feel
restricted.
like restrictive. Not that I feel restricted, but my job is to promote dynamic discs and of course Latitude 64 and Westside discs, which of course I love. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but there's certain, there's been suggestions for the Disc Golf Answer Man podcast about talking about other manufacturers. And, I got to keep it real. The podcast is to help promote our brands, to educate people on our brand. So it would seem a little counterintuitive to do disc reviews on other manufacturers. Not that I'm saying that our brand is better, not that I'm saying their brand is bad. It's just, you're not going to go to Nike to find out what Reebok tennis shoes fit like. That's just not going to happen. So, and so I could never turn away from dynamic discs. I would never. I love my job too much. But I have thought about before what would have been different had this opportunity hadn't come up. Would I be, back to living full time in an RV, which was part of the plan back in the day, and doing more of that type stuff? Did that answer? I can't remember.
Yeah, you did. You did. No, it was really. It's just an interesting proposition because we've seen you get so dialed in, and there's I don't think there's anyone that can challenge it right now. When people talk about, and you see it on our board, and you probably see it on your own boards, when people talk about who's leading the disc golf game when it comes to social media and marketing presence, I think anyone logically would have to say DD is right there in that spot. And I know that Rusko, he'll be the first guy to spit out your name and give you the praise and accolades, and I think we all would, and it's deservedly so. So much, and there's been even conversations recently about, well, who's the most influential player, and UC a few weeks ago said, who's the most influential player, and he had his various criteria, and then immediately, as soon as you kind of tangent from what exactly his purpose was, the next question becomes, well, maybe not just physical play by, your skill sets out there, although we're all scared of them. Your skill sets out there when it comes to your play, clearly you're a very influential guy in all the stuff that you're doing, and probably more influential than a number of our top rated players. And that's, again, all the work that you're doing in the avenues and the channels that you've, put forth. So
sure. And I appreciate that. And, it's kind of, it's a weird, as the 2017 is sort of, or is coming to an end, in 2018, trying to think beyond. And someone had posted somewhere on a group saying, who do they think is the most influential in disc golfer in social media? And my name came up a lot. And, part of me is like, whoa, that's awesome. But then part of me thinks, because someone said something about, the most influential in disc golf media, DD wouldn't be where it is if it wasn't for Bobby. And part of me thought, that's awesome. And then for right after, I thought, part of me doesn't like that because I want to keep challenging myself and pushing myself, and I never want to think that I have reached the top. So it's
well, you
almost
haven't.
like
Don't worry, we're here.
But you know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what
you know
you're
what
saying.
I'm saying, though.
Of course.
It's almost like people. I totally get. I am not naive. I understand that I am in a very unique position when it comes to disc golf. In that, Jeremy Rusko had the foresight, had the vision that he understood how important media was. So much so that instead of investing into another machine or investing in some other aspect, he invested in social media and hiring me. I understand that. But it's almost as if I wish some of these other companies would hire somebody to keep me on my toes. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, definitely. We've said the same thing about live, that we don't know. I hate to put it this way. We don't know how bad we are until we see somebody else, or we don't know how good we are until we see somebody else come at us. So somebody's going to eventually come out and do something that's, not Facebook Live, but that's a more so quote unquote professional as we do it. And until we see that, we go, oh my God, I can't believe we didn't think about that. Or how did they do that? Why aren't we doing that? Or they're going to see, oh my God, look how hard it is. Now we know why SmashBoxx does what it does the way it does. So,
and how stupid they are for keep doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's not to say. I mean, I obviously watch what other people do, and I hate to talk. I mean, it's kind of weird to talk about it, but I mean, it is what it is. Yes, disc golf is one big, nice, happy family, but it is what it is. Business is business. And I watch other companies, and I see other companies doing really great things. And there are times where I'll see a video from another manufacturer, I'm like, God, why didn't I think of that? Man, that looks good. And then that pushes me. It's like, okay, my next project, we're going to do this, and we're going to do it this much better. And I'm going to use this camera now, and we're going to use this technique. And so I love seeing that. So when I see the things like the people that give me the good, the positive, I love it. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But then part of me thinks, man, I still want to be hungry. I want to be hungry to be better. I don't make sure never lose sight of that, of being hungry to be always get better and better.
Is it fair to say, maybe in that same vein, that you almost wish there was someone like you at every one of the manufacturers, so that all of the overall social media would elevate? I mean, because essentially everyone's disc golf game and their company would rise, and it might be great to be kind of in the forefront in a lot of these aspects. But if every single manufacturer had a Bobby Brown with your consistency along with your overall effectiveness, the entire world of disc golf would elevate. Is that a fair statement?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree with you. I'm completely of the mindset that the internet, the social media, the YouTube, the Facebook videos, that's where we need to be to reach more people and to get these young people's attention. And if more and more disc golf companies were to invest in that aspect instead of worrying about being on ESPN, I think that would elevate disc golf as a whole, and that would just create more and more opportunities for everybody that wants to do something they love, and that's working within the realm of disc golf.
Well, and one thing that we've, I'll say something that I've adopted, and then eventually, as well as SmashBoxx continues to grow, we always give you guys accolades, and we really thoroughly enjoy working with you guys. But it's awesome that you understand, with the position we're in and in the approach that we don't have to, but we choose to work with a bunch of manufacturers.
Right.
A lot of people will say, this crew might be similar, exclusively or seem to be exclusively working with one manufacturer or another. And I feel like that can really pigeonhole you, and it can also limit some possibilities. And we're just not in a position right now where we could say, I think, company out there can say, well, we're going to exclusively work with these guys, or we're going to exclusively work with that production company. And the fact that, when we're covering the GBO, we're going to, work our asses off to put out the best possible product for the GBO. And the next weekend, we may be at one of your competitors', premier events, and we're going to work to put, the best possible show on we can there. And I think that's where we are, obviously is a little bit different angle, but it's great that you guys are always so quick to work with us to, hopefully when that show happens that week, that's going to be the best show that we've put out to date. And somebody's going to have to step it up the next weekend if they want an even better show.
Absolutely. No, I think you guys do a great job, and I've complimented that to you on the show and even in private, that I love that I can be confident that when you're at the Glass One Open covering stuff, that you mention our names, you say our names, and you do what we asked to do on the live show. And I would expect nothing else except when you ended up at somebody else's event that you do the exact same thing for them, because and I've worked with a few people that have done disc reviews and stuff that want to do more and more DD, and I've actually said to them, watch yourself, because you don't want to alienate other manufacturers, because you're going to limit yourself on your availability. You don't want to become the dynamic disc reviewer, because then you're going to have somebody else come along and not want to have you review their product, because they're afraid that they're going to think you're DD and stuff like that. So yeah, there's certain people that just have to make sure that they maintain the word would be unbiased opinion about different things, so that they can make sure that they keep the opportunities open for sure.
I saw one of the polls you just put out, and I guess we'll kind of transition over to the podcast about what you guys are looking to do next year more for the podcast, or what the fans would like to see more of. And it looked like the number one thing was disc reviews.
Yeah.
Overwhelmingly, is that something that would that be difficult for you guys? I mean, I can't imagine anyone would think, yeah, they gave me a really honest review on a disc, especially coming from the manufacturer. I could understand saying, oh, this one's more stable than this one's got more glide,
right,
and things like that. But are you guys taking episode 200 to kind of I wouldn't say sum up, but look at future avenues on what you want to do? Is that kind of step 201 or episode 201? Let's kind of reevaluate and find out what our fans want.
Well, I mean, I think if you look back historically on the Facebook group, around this time I start asking, what would you guys like to see? Or sometimes in just the middle of the year. Even in some of my surveys, when we do giveaways, sometimes I'll do surveys and I'll ask them specific questions like, where do you get your content from? Different questions that we talk about and different survey questions, just to kind of get to learn our listeners. And I mean, to be honest, it was last night at about midnight. I was laying in bed. I couldn't fall asleep. So I started thinking of ideas of what we could do for the podcast. And then I thought, well, let me just ask to see what the Facebook people think. And I worded that incorrectly. I shouldn't have said disc review. I probably should have said like disc overviews or something like that. Because like you said, it's not really going to be a disc review, because we're not going to obviously, we're obviously going to talk positively about our disc, but maybe more in the lines of, why would you use a dynamic disc defender? Why would you need it? Well, you'd need it when the wind, and really windy conditions. Who's going to need it? Someone who's got a big arm, or someone's got a slow arm, stuff like that. So more like overviews, so people can learn more about our products. Because I noticed, we get a lot of the same questions over and over again. And I think it's because we get a lot of new listeners, a lot of beginner listeners. And I understand that because of the format and because we get similar questions, we probably lose people that have listened for a while and they're thinking, well, I've got all the information I really need. But that's okay, because we're here to help people that just discovered disc golf. We want them to, as they start learning it, we want them to go, oh, well, he's talking about a truth a lot, so I should probably try a truth. If I'm going to get into this disc golf thing, I'm going to try a truth or a thief or a witness or whatnot. So it's probably not going to be more a disc review per se, but more of an overview of the disc, so you understand more what their use is.
Okay.
So that was a big thing, and I know that people want more interviews, but it's not so much. I'm almost thinking of, and this is something I haven't told anybody. I don't even know if Eric or Robert know.
SmashBox exclusive from Bobby Brown.
I know. It's not so much going to be. I'm almost thinking of expanding what we are as far as audio. In other words, the Disc Golf Answer Man might be just a segment. And then like Anthony's got the disc golf discussion now, where he's got 2 episodes in, where he's talked about the new rules, and then he talked about the rule change, then he talked about the 2019 majors. And so he's just going to do a topical thing. And so I'm almost thinking where Disc Golf Answer Man will be Wednesdays. Disc Golf discussion will be Fridays. Disc Overview will be Tuesday. And then Monday might be something else. And they might be anywhere from 5 to 10 to 20-minute segments. But almost every day of the week, you're going to get something from the Dynamic Discs audio something or other. I don't know. And that's totally baking in my head. I don't know. But and I'm sure you guys have experienced it with audio, is that audio is growing and growing.
Yeah, I mean, I've said the same thing. That, I mean, Terry and I have talked offline about different plans. You know, we've got Patreon goals that say, hey, if we hit X amount, I'd love to do a roundtable discussion. I'd love to have, you know, once a month have someone, you know, have 3 or 4 of our movers and shakers and go over the months, like, hey, these are the rule changes this month, or these are the things we saw, these were the controversies. These were almost like an ESPN, like a PTI, but maybe a little classier than theirs. Let's not have people yelling over each other.
Then I'm out.
I know you're out. That you weren't invited. But we've discussed that, or taking our podcast and, you know, we release the regular show and then we release the after show later for the audio listeners, and, you know, maybe doing like you said, an interview show or anything, things like that. Like, we would love to break up and push more audio out that way. So I completely understand where you're coming from.
Now,
and we've even talked to Jeremy. Jeremy's going to do a once a month thing where it's going to be kind of like we're thinking of the name of either Catching Up with Jeremy or something like that, where it's his way to connect with people and let them know what's going on. Because a lot of times he knows stuff that nobody really knows about because he's doing all the wheeling and dealing. Mm-hmm. Well, this to give him an opportunity to share some of that information with people. Now that's one of the things we're going to do live on Facebook, but then I'll turn I'll take the audio and push it out to the podcast. And that's just more content for people to be able, or a different channel for people to be able to consume that content.
Now, in looking at the poll that you had created, the 4th most answered option was longer runtime. Do you feel that's a direct result of the 3 to 6 hours that we put out?
Yeah, if we just broke our podcast into hour chunks, we have a whole week's worth of material.
Yeah,
I know you would dominate on content. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten people that want longer runtime, and yes, if that ends up being a way we go, we'll call the last. If we go past an hour and a half, anything after an hour and a half will be sponsored by SmashBoxxTV.
I like it. Good.
There we go.
Good. Like the sound of that. So I usually ask things like, what's your least favorite question to answer, or what's the part you like the least? What would you say, though? We'll flip that and say, what is your favorite type of question to answer on the show? And maybe you've done them, you know, you've had that same question multiple times, maybe you haven't, but what's your favorite type of question when people are sitting there thinking, and usually I'm sitting there thinking of something cocky or jerkish to say if I'm on the site trying to submit a question, but when you get a question, what's your favorite type of question?
My favorite, well, I don't know if this is a type of question, but like we've had people call in from Australia, and just recently had someone call in from South Africa. And for someone to call in from South Africa, we have the speak pipe where people can actually leave kind of like a voicemail, and we play it on the air. I was grinning from ear to ear. I thought that was amazing. But the type of question, I guess my favorite is when they ask me specifically, and not because it's me, but because, I mean, the whole part when we first started, it was Eric McCabe, get advice from the pro. But I think people are starting to understand that they have good advice, but sometimes they need advice from just the regular guy, the guy that doesn't play that often and isn't going to throw a portion of the defender to get that distance. They are starting to understand that they might have to pick up a witness. They might have to pick up a thief to get some distance. And I like that because then people aren't wasting money buying whatever all the big pros are throwing and then hating a disc. You know, what's this enforcer stupid? Well, no, it's not stupid. It's just not the disc for you. You need to figure something else out. So I guess those type questions that people realize and understand that they need the average guys, or with my case, the below average guy, his advice on discs.
Okay, so that kind of goes hand in hand with the special segment that you guys occasionally break out, which is this disc right for you? It's kind of
Correct.
your on-air version of that. And I think that's a very
Right.
valid that's one thing that has always frustrated me with disc reviews or in the bags is when somebody says I throw the
here are my 12 overstable discs.
yeah, and I throw all
Right.
these, you know, and I get them to turn over at like 400, 450. That's when they start to turn over. And I'm rolling my eyes thinking most people won't ever throw 400, let alone get their, you know, super overstable disc to start turning over at 400. Well, my triple X turns over at, yeah. So
Yeah, no, and then
I can understand that.
Let's leave Ice Cube
yeah,
out
and then
of
they
this.
and then they yeah, and then they you know they blame the disc, and it's just it's just not the right disc for you, or their form is totally jacked up because they're trying to make that disc work do that when they're not. They're just their form's all jacked up. That is something that we tried one. Speaking of in the bags, we did one in the bag with Derek Savory, and the whole point was to kind of do like an average Joe's in the bag. You know, he didn't play a whole lot. He wasn't even that familiar with all his discs. He just had saw that people threw it, and so he had it in his bag. He even admitted it in the bag. He was like, I'm not even sure why this disc is in my bag. But we're going to do more of those. We're going to get people in the warehouse who are people that, you know, they don't have the huge arms. They play maybe 2 or 3 times a week, but they still love throwing plastics like everybody else. So we're going to figure out what they have in their bag, and I think a lot of people are going to enjoy that too.
Good. And for those reasons, I think it was last week we were talking about it. The in the bags are kind of hit and miss with me. And I even, you know, before visiting Nate and Val last week and kind of thinking about the logic out there, I want to know what makes for a good in the bag, because a lot of people, when they tell you, and I think it gets down to specific discs, not just the overstable one, but when someone says, well, I throw this disc and, you know, they love it, but little do we know it was, you know, a super one-off run, or it was in a tiny production run, or they've had it and it's actually been run over by 2 cars, so it doesn't fly anything like it.
It's 6 years old. It's been chewed up by a dog.
Exactly. There's a lot of different stories there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of Jeremy and his wife along with their dog, and a formal introduction here.
This is Sebastian. This is my French bulldog. His ear's not feeling so well. I may have to take him to the vet tomorrow. But yeah, he's about 8 months old, and he's my little guy that I like to walk around the course with every now and then. So, but he came up to check on me, see what's going on. So I'm sorry. So back to what you were saying about in the bag and stuff like that.
I just think they can be a little bit tough, you know, depending on what your overall objective is, who's giving it, and then you know, the explanation that these pros are giving as to, you know, what the disc is, maybe what got it to that spot, and why you love it specifically. And because, as we know, you know, I always use Nico LaCastro for some reason as an example. How Nico's throwing, or a Simon Lizotte, or
Robert McCall,
or Eric McCabe, how they're throwing. You know, some of those guys that I mentioned have perfect form or near perfect form.
Yeah.
And so when you grab that, like you said, that enforcer, and it doesn't do what it does for Eric, well, it's not the disc.
Not the disc's fault.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not the disc's fault. But the thing is, people want it. People
I
want. I mean, they want to see what they're throwing. So it's like you have to give them what
Correct.
they want, and you know. But you know, to be fair, I guess you're going to have some guys that want to watch it because they can throw those discs. They can
Sure.
put a lot of power behind them discs. But I just don't. I just caution people to make sure that they understand that they have to work their way up to throwing those enforcers, then defenders and things like that. And they may have to start out with maybe a witness or something like that. And I think those average Joe in the bags will help people understand, and they'll be able to relate a little bit more to those people in the bag.
Now, this might be a little bit more fair of a question for Robert McCall. I'm sure he's out there lurking. He always does every week. He needs to get his info somewhere. So, but I'll ask you this. I opened saying that DD's been a little bit more, I'll say, aggressive, and has acquired a number of people this year. Is there a specific plan in place when it comes to the team? I know, you know, the quality of the people that you want for representatives, but is there a number, or is it just somebody that comes along, or oh, someone happens to be, in a contract, they're a free agent, so to speak, at the end of this year. Is there any, I'll say a specific thought process that goes into saying, oh, we're going to go out and try to acquire an individual? How does that come about this year? Because we're seeing a number of these people join the team, like I said.
Well, I mean, I used to know a little bit more when we were a little smaller, but now that, with Robert McCall, he's doing a great job talking with people and keeping the team motivated and keeping them connected. This would be a better question for him.
Okay.
I mean, I know that we obviously try to be strategic. You have to be.
Sure.
You have to be strategic. So if you've got a certain area that you feel doesn't have enough dynamic disc representation, then that's obviously an area you want to look at to see if there's a player that maybe that we can pick up or acquire. Even though disc golf is getting bigger, we still try to make sure that our players align with our culture, with which we are at Dynamic Discs. And I feel that we do a pretty good job of that, of finding people that fit best in with our vision for disc golf and how to treat people and talk to people. But as far as that, I don't know specifically how it's done. I know that he gets probably 5, 10, 15 a day requests for people to be sponsored. I know I get at least 2 or 3 a day on Facebook Messenger, combined to Facebook Messenger, Snapchat, or Instagram. So I know he's constantly getting people, and he makes an effort to reply to each and every person with at least something saying, thanks for your interest.
I'm sending one every day. Every day he's going to get one. Snapchat. Robert McCall is going to be Snapchat.
Persistency.
So he doesn't get his 1,000 ratings. So I win my free lunch.
Yeah.
Because we got to make sure we got to keep him busy.
Every one of those Snapchat filters, I'm going to be like, can you sponsor me? Just send him one a day. So when can we expect to hear, or when will it drop, episode 200 of the Disc Golf Answer Man?
It's actually dropping tomorrow,
I
believe, at 6 or 7 more. Yeah, because actually what happened was I knew that they were traveling. Eric and Robert I think Eric's on his way back tomorrow, but I know Robert's gone the next week. So we actually recorded episode 199 and episode 200 not the same time, but the same day. So that's been recorded for a while now. So that'll go out tomorrow. It's already scheduled and everything. And you will definitely want to, if you want to win some discs, I think we give away 6 or 8 discs and a Special Ops Ranger H2O disc golf backpack bag. Wow. So we've got a lot of giveaways happening on that particular episode, but you got to listen to figure out and find out how to enter those contests.
That's great. I see. And it's funny because I listened to episode 199 and then I'm like, oh, they've got the holidays coming up. I wonder if they're going to drop it at the beginning of the year, if they're going to start that way, or what they're going to do. And so I was putting more thought behind it than I probably even should have. But why
don't you worry about getting our show up and running on time now?
Yeah, right.
Well, I got
audio to work.
I got a lot of time at work. That's why I listen to my podcasts, and so it's I want to say congratulations on 200 episodes.
Thanks.
Coming. Obviously, we're at 175, and it doesn't. It can be monotonous. It can be repetitive. There are days you don't want to do it, but ultimately, it's a lot of fun, and just congratulations on making it to 200. I mean, we're chasing you, but we're not. We'll work on catching up.
Yeah, we are chasing the chains. Is that trademark? Damn it! Do we owe you something?
Yeah. You owe $5 now. And actually, technically, it's over 200 episodes because a lot of the interview episodes I don't number and stuff like that. But official episode 200, it's amazing. We definitely could not. Obviously, you guys can't do it without people listening. Because if you look at those numbers, if those numbers are there, then you're going to be like, is this even worth it? And when the numbers are there and the numbers are growing, especially during the summertime when disc golf is in full swing, when I see those numbers and I'm just like, man, this is really cool. People actually like to listen to us. They like to hear us talk disc golf and stuff like that. I think it's really cool. And I'm super excited to keep doing it until we aren't able to do it anymore. And try to change it up, kind of keep the core of people calling in with questions and then maybe changing up and adding stuff is super exciting.
Yeah, if we would just break ours up to 1.5 hour segments, we'd have like 600.
Well,
of them out
the
by
funny
now.
thing is we're at like 175, but there was, I don't think it was this year, I think it was last year. It might even have been the GBO where we labeled each night as a podcast number.
Sure.
You know, even though a lot of it was just interviews or going over, talking to some of the players and things like that, as opposed to our regular Tuesday night gig. So, but yeah, that's
you guys are probably well over with especially when you're at events and you do one a night, you've got to be well over. But it's all good. So
yeah.
What are you guys planning for 2018? You got anything new? Anything cooking new, or are you just excited about getting out there and doing some coverage?
I think it's gonna be great because for the first time we're gonna have essentially a repeat crew. We added Chad last year. And Chad's been great and so dependable, and he was at every single one of our events. And him coming from the Milwaukee area or Madison area in Wisconsin, along with me, it helps situate our travel schedule a little bit easier. So having him at every single event and learning our process, we immediately put him into what I feel is the slightly tougher role of being a catch cameraman. So working into that process and then knowing that he's going to be with us for every event next year. Rick, who's been great, having him join us for most of the events last year. He's talking about rejoining us for most of the events this year, all but one or two. So having that consistency, I think, is going to help quite a bit. And then, Johnny, as you know, is always working on the latest and greatest and how we can spruce things up, how we can make them a little bit better. I'm trying to figure out how to do less work and be less involved. But we're trying, and Steve Dodge, kind of helps. I don't want to say he helps steer our ship, but
Steve Dodge.
Well, Steve Dodge plants icebergs out there, and we're trying to steer around them.
We kind of said the same thing about Steve Dodge as we said about Chuck Kennedy a couple of years ago. He throws about 1,000 things up on the wall, and usually a few good ones stick, and that's great.
Yeah.
He might come at me with this, in the next week or two with 6 new ideas, and then I have to explain why 5 of them won't work. And the 6th one, I'm like, we'll give that a shot. I think we can look at that.
And then he revises, and then we say, no, your 7th idea won't work until we get like $100,000 more in the budget. So, there's always kind of that give and take. As Jeff says out on the board, who must have listened last week, he said, we're covering the Cornhole League in 2018. So
that's true. Expanding.
For all we know, I mean, if we can find some real money outside of disc golf, we could transition into something else.
That's true. We're covering Cornhole in like a month.
Yeah. So there's.
Well, I said something. I saw somewhere Jonas was doing something with the golf tournament.
Ah, okay.
Awesome. I haven't seen that. That's cool.
Yeah.
It was similar to the disc dash or the basket dash, whatever he did.
Mm-hmm.
But it was real golf, and I didn't get a lot of information, but it was outside of disc golf that he was doing stuff, and I thought, that seems legit to be able to get some income or something outside of disc golf. Maybe that's something you guys should look into.
Oh yeah.
Well, and then and in a similar note, all 3 of us volunteered our efforts working with the original Disc Golf Planet at one time or another to see them kind of refocus and rebrand. They were in disc golf for a number of years. As we all know, it can be tight when it comes to budget time and some of the restraints that we have and restrictions. And then seeing someone like John Dusler and Terry Roddy take ultimately professional drone skills and bringing it to the PGA Championships. So, this isn't saying we're transitioning out of disc golf by any means, but to know that you get into some technologies and or make the right connections, and you could really either, tangent into other things and then make that part of your portfolio, or you may just entirely, take an offshoot. So it's kind of crazy. I mean, we're learning more and more as just like yourself. We're always learning what's working, what's not in live. And then I think one of our most interesting components will be finding out how live works in other situations. We talk about this. We talked last week about the Cornhole League that's taking place in Texas, but how will they accept that? How big of a deal will that be? Is that going to be, a game changer for Cornhole? And then all sorts of other sports or activities where live could be brought to. And then, like with your skill sets in doing more of the one-on-one pieces or the interview pieces or doing vlog type pieces and travel pieces. I don't know. I just feel like the sky's the limit. So I think we're all blessed that yeah, we're all with disc golf right now, and we probably forever will be, but our skill sets could be applied in a lot of different ways.
Oh yeah, and and live is growing more and more. I mean, that's why I'm investing more into a little equipment, because I know that we need to do some more live type stuff with what we do at Dynamic Disc. But imagine this, guys, with cornhole, you have one camera and you set up on a tripod, or you could have 2 or 3 cameras and set up on a tripod, and you can even have it hardwired in.
We
somewhere.
know.
Trust me, we've had this conversation. We've talked about maybe even
how much easier.
It's like, wait, what? Like you don't need 2 or 3 guys running. Like, okay, you're clear. Go to the next hole now. You just some stationary cameras, and then just some fancy graphics. It don't look that hard, but we'll see. I mean, of course, the guy that we're doing it with, who's kind of helping us arrange it, he's got all these grand plans. Like, I can, we can do a 4K camera that we can crop out and make it look like it's 2 or 3 cameras. And I'm like, whoa. Let's get it live first.
You haven't done live yet? Talk to Bobby Brown. He'll tell you how easy it is to get it up and running. So, there's that. And then as we've talked about it quite a bit. When we're not live, I'm obviously out trying to still be at tournaments, still trying to do post-production. I think you and I have had this conversation offline that, I'm in the process of trying to raise money to replace cameras, to get some really high-quality, up-to-date cameras. And then update and do a better graphics package. We love what Central Coast does and Jomez, and so much of how beautiful their videos are, besides great camera work, obviously, is the fact that they've got great graphics to go along with it. So that's something that I want to invest in as well. And as you know, it's crazy. You talk about a couple cameras and some graphics, you're talking like 10 grand as an investment, and we're still on disc golf dollars. So that can be
Yeah, I know you work hard though. I mean, Terry, when I see you out there filming and you've got a camera in one hand, you've got an iPhone on your little Osmo thing in the other hand, and you're trying to capture different angles, one guy with different angles, and then you're ready to do the interview, and you're setting your Osmo down and you're running it. I'm thinking, I mean, I look at that and I can't help but feel. This may sound weird, but I can't help but feel proud, because I know you're out there hustling and trying to do your best. And I think it's really cool to see that you're the disc golf guy and people love you and people love to watch your stuff, but you are still hustling to make your product the best it can be. And I know it's going to pay off. I know it's going to pay off, and I know you're going to be you'll be able to get all that stuff that you want to take yours to the next level for sure.
Well, I appreciate it, and again, we as SmashBoxx and as the disc golf guy, we just keep looking forward to events when we can go to a GBO or a Match Play Championships, or working with a Latitude 64 and covering the Next Generation Tour. There's just so many exciting opportunities that every weekend we have something new to look forward to. And, we've had those conversations with Rusko as well. Like you said, he sees the value in that media. He sees the value in, what you're doing and what your entire staff is doing. And those are people we just love aligning and partnering ourselves with. So
I got one more 2-part question for Bobby, seeing as how it's
before
the
you opened with an A and you never got
to a B.
I
love
it. What do you got?
What was the best Christmas gift you got, and what do you think was the best Christmas gift you gave, or best received gift from somebody else?
Golly.
Because you've got those nice Apple headphones that I want, but
yeah, and somebody says DD is cutting edge. Their guy has AirPods.
I know. I'll have some as soon as they're back in stock.
These were kind of a gift to myself, so I don't know if that counts. I think I got it kind of early, but I think the coolest thing I got right now is a Google Home.
Mm.
I got a Google Home, and part of it, I know it sounds geeky and nerdy. I mean, and I know it sounds maybe stupid, but part of the reason is because I wanted to research. I wanted to see, I want to be, I started playing with it and doing stuff with it. And of course, you obviously tell it to play music, but now I have it telling me the news in the morning. It tells me, I have a reminder list that it reminds me of stuff to do. And now just even tonight, I was setting up a Google Express item so that I can order from it, so I can turn around and say, hey, Google, order me, some toothpaste and stuff like that. But I started thinking, man, wouldn't it be cool if you say, hey, Google, tell me about the United States Disc Golf Championship, and then it gives me a disc golf briefing about the championship. So it was almost like a cool
UDisc
gift.
can do that.
Yeah, I bet you they could. But that was my mindset. It was like, this is really cool, but how do I make it to where I can tell people about dynamic disc on a Google Home or an Alexa or something like that? So that's really cool to me. I've been messing around with that, and then I even bought Walmart had the Google Home Minis on sale. So I bought the Google Home Mini, and that's sitting in my right next to my bed. So I talk to Google Home sometimes at night right before I go to bed just to check out different things. The best thing that I gave, gosh. I mean, the big present for one of my grandchildren was an iPod Touch.
Oh, that's nice.
So I know it might be kind of weird, and a lot of people probably think it's not a good thing to give an 8-year-old an iPod Touch. But when I look down and I see a text from Eli that says, "Hey, Papa, ask me how my day was," I'm like, that was totally worth it to have him an iPod Touch. But the other thing is, a lot of people say, but he plays basketball at school and stuff, and he goes out and plays, and his mom is really good about, certain time limits on it and stuff like that. So we've already talked about that, but I almost partly did it because I want to make sure that he's up. By the time he's 18 years old, this is all they're going to know is some kind of device in their hand, and I don't want him to be behind. I want to make sure he knows all this stuff. So I guess that's the coolest thing I can think of that I gave out for Christmas.
All right.
And along that line, is it funny that in this day and age, you're hearing kids, and this could be good or bad, and this may be more philosophical than we need to totally get into tonight, but in this day and age, are we hearing less kids say, I want to be an NFL star, or I want to be an NBA star, and more of them saying things like, I want to be a podcaster, or I want to be a YouTuber? Is that kind of a funny transition? And again, that could be good and bad, but...
No, well, okay, so I was in, where were we? We were in Vegas. So obviously it used to be called the Gentlemen's Club, but now
it's the Las Vegas Challenge.
Right?
Yep.
Now it's the Las Vegas, but last year it was the Gentlemen's Club Challenge, and it was over. But we had one night in Vegas, and it was the only night we had time to actually go walk around Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I'm doing my vlogging thing that we do, the disc golf adventure stuff that we do, and I'm walking around, and we're in the M&M store, and it was like it was either Skittles. Anyway, it was some candy store, and it had a statue made of candy.
Yeah, it was the Hershey store.
That. It was Hershey store, and I was capturing it, and some kids come up to me and go, "Are you on YouTube? You do YouTube?" And I was like, yeah, I do YouTube stuff for a disc golf company, Dynamic Disc, and I pointed to my shirt, and they're like, "Can we be on YouTube?" And I was like, "Sure." And so I pointed the camera like that, and as they're walking away, I'm like, "Man, I want to be a YouTuber." And I'm like, "That's a thing? That's a thing. I want to be a YouTuber."
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just amazing. People, kids thinking, and I talked to somebody else, I can't remember who it was, and I asked them what they wanted to be, and it was a YouTuber. They wanted to be on YouTube and do YouTube videos.
It's ridiculous. I've got they feel like nieces and nephews. They're my cousins who are, just barely over 20, and they want to start up a video game channel. And there's this kid who was my son went to like Pokemon League, and he bought these cards. And then he took out his phone so he could record himself opening these cards. And the kid's like 9. I'm like, what are you doing?
He's doing an unboxing.
And yeah, and he's like, yeah, I'm starting up a YouTube channel where I watch people, people watch me open up these cards. And I went home and I looked it up, and it's hugely popular. And I was like, oh my God, like just these kids. I understand the unboxings. I've seen that. I guess it's no different than the kids playing with toys. But all I think are that it's the one in a, just like you used to tell people about basketball, like, yeah, you're great in basketball in high school, then there's college and the NBA. You have a 1 in a 10 million shot of making it. And I kind of feel that way about YouTube as well, but everybody has an audience and anybody can have a voice. Yeah. So it's you never know.
Yeah, and that's why I say philosophically, what the odds are, and will they have a greater chance? Will they have a safer chance? Will it be, there's going to be good mixed with bad, having their, these youngsters have online presence. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can take it. I know for instance, I think about it. My daughter has said, yeah, I'd like to have be more active on YouTube. And I think about obviously the pros and the cons, and then Dad in me takes over. Well, not Dad, I should say. The disc golf guy in me takes over and says, "All right, well, if we're gonna do it, let's get the lighting right. Let's get you mic'd up.
Right.
Like let's do this, as right as we can with what we have to work with." So it's kind of funny, but
that's interesting.
All right.
Interesting time.
It is. Well, all right, buddy. Well, we do appreciate, obviously, everything you're doing, everything Dynamic Disc is doing, the support you give us, the fun jabs and support we love to give back and forth among our social media channels and connections. It's a lot of fun, and like you said earlier, if you're not excited about 2018, then I don't think you're doing disc golf right, because it should be another great year.
I'm ready for another big year. Like I said earlier, January 20th, I think. Yeah, January 20th, I'm going to travel down to Texas because Eric Oakley and Tina Snides are doing a special event out there. Some new, I think they're calling it Bag of Tricks, some new type of event they're doing. And I'm like, man, I can't wait to start traveling again and get out there and do some video work. I'm super excited. I'm super excited to see, the next controversy of some event doing something weird or something like that, and listening to you guys talk about it, and then we talk about it, and then watching people's stuff on. Hey, that's real quick. If I want to, I don't know if we should talk about, but
yeah, we should.
You guys follow. You guys follow the Facebook group, the Disc Golf Debate group, and the Disc Golf Buyers Feedback.
Both of which I do follow. I was added. Well, the feedback group, I do a little bit of selling from time to time, and I don't do a lot of buying, but I do a little selling from time to time. So getting involved with the Disc Golf Buyers Feedback group is a really resourceful, can be a great group to be part of. And then Disc Golf Debate group, a little bit different, where kind of anything goes. Definitely people are, I don't want to say the guards are down. It can be a little more controversial, swearing and memes and all those things are, I'll say, more welcomed, or allowed. But they're two can be very interesting and volatile groups.
And I've followed them, and I don't pay a lot of close attention to them, but I'm going to pay close attention because I do love. I'm that guy that likes to sit at the mall and people watch, so it feels more like even more people watching because you can actually see, what people have to say and stuff like that. But it's interesting to see how it's not social media that makes people the way they are. Social media just kind of shows more of how people are, and people can be different and people can be outspoken. And I think if you're on that group and you're listening or watching, I'm going to be more active on those groups because I want to figure out more about people. I just didn't know if you guys followed those two groups and what your thoughts were.
Yeah, I'm on them more. Again, Johnny doesn't do any buying or selling, so the feedback group, not as relevant for him. I like to keep up on what's being said there. It's a great resource. If you do any buying or selling on Facebook, you should then also, I would recommend going out and becoming part of the Disc Golf Buyer Feedback group. And it's great because if you're thinking about buying something from an individual or maybe even a company, you can go out there, simply type in their name as on a search, and then hopefully people have given hopefully they're good, but people have given reviews, and they may say, had a transaction with Bobby Brown. He shipped all 5 discs almost instantly, and they were packaged well. I would love to do business with him. Again, I think you're more inclined to go out there if things went sour. But there's people that will give both bad and good feedback, and I've done the same. And I definitely recommend it. And like you said, the debate group, it's a little too wild for me in that they could be like, what? Yeah, they are. It get for me, and again, maybe I'm biased, but when I see I think Paul McBeth sucks, Ricky's 10 times better, and then it's just instantly like,
right?
The fanboyism in everyone kind of comes out. It comes out super strong and hard, and some of these debates aren't really debates. They just then lead into nothing but name calling. And so for that reason, I always kind of take that one with a grain of salt. But I am seeing it be used more and more often. So
yeah,
you gonna start a big debate out there?
Maybe I'll see what I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch for a little bit, and I've been answering a few questions that I see on there just to kind of be active in it. But I may see if people want to debate some stuff I want to talk about. Maybe we'll get controversial. Get up all controversial up in here.
I like it.
I like watching people or listening or reading about what people have to say and learning more about people. I just know what you guys' thoughts were on it.
You are right, and I'm probably even thinking of the same major feedback where you may have chimed in. Even I'm thinking of one or two major pieces of feedback that went down this week, and like you said, you can get some insights into people, how they operate. You know, do they follow what seems like logical protocol? You know, one of the biggest raging feedback debates that will always go on is when you ship a disc, and you don't ship by what are kind of the industry standards, but then it still arrives okay. Should you give that person bad feedback? And I think that's probably one of the most common debates that takes place. Like, I got this disc, it was packaged very poorly. It happened to be just fine when it arrived, but it was still packaged poorly. I'm sorry, I'm a kind of guy that feels like I want to know that feedback, because that was probably just dumb luck that it got there in great condition. But that's probably the most common debate.
The feedback is good because I like knowing if somebody's not satisfied, because then it gives me the opportunity to figure out how to make it right.
Yeah, I agree. All right, buddy. Well, congrats on 200. Everybody, of course, should be out there downloading it and already be subscribed to the Disc Golf Answer Man. And then they can find all of your stuff where? If you said to someone, hey, you just got into disc golf this week, you are subscribed already to SmashBoxxTV, where can they go find everything else that is DD related?
I mean, no matter, just about everywhere you're at, just look for Dynamic Discs and Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and you'll find us on there for sure. But if you really want to get into some conversations, then if you're watching this or if you're listening, get you a pen and paper. And I want you to write this number down. I want you to write 321-265-3426. Send me a text. Say hello. I'll get some information from you, and you'll be part of my little inner circle of conversations that we have, some surveys, some giveaways. But I'm going to do a little bit more with this in 2018. But I like having conversations with people via text, and we can do that with that number. Let me do it again, 321-265-3426.
And that goes right to Jeremy Rusko's phone.
Right to Jeremy Rusko. Tell him everything you want.
All right, buddy. Well, we always give the final word to any supporters, sponsors, people you'd like to recognize. I think I know them, but we want to hear it anyway. What do you got for us? Even if they do write your checks, literally.
Yes. Just follow what we do. Go on YouTube, follow what we do. Jeremy Rusko is an amazing guy that has a big vision for disc golf. Sometimes I want to tell him to stop and let me finish what I'm working on right now, and then bring me some of his vision later. And then, of course, Eric McKay, Robert McCall, all those guys. Follow Team Dynamic Disc out there. They are doing some great stuff. Got two more people we're going to have on the team that we're super excited about. I'm sure you'll hear from the first of the year, all that type of stuff. So, just support. I say it for our team members, but I want to say it for you guys as well. Anytime you see SmashBoxx somewhere and they're broadcasting somewhere, and if they happen to have something for sale, or if they ask, to donate to their Patreon, don't have the audacity to think that, oh, it's free, I should be able to do whatever. It's supposed to be free. I know from experience that these guys put more hours in than any other job. And they do it for the love of the game, for the love of doing it. But definitely the way to show your support is to click on that Patreon button and subscribe, buy that disc, buy that something or other that they put out there. Make sure you support those pro disc golfers that are out there, living their life on the road. They're trying to make it and making sure they're staying on the road. So make sure you support people like that. Even if it costs a couple extra dollars than normal, that's because it's going straight in their pocket. It's still going straight to the next lunch that they have, or the next 10 gallons they put in their RV or their car. That's what it all goes towards. So make sure you help those people out.
All right, buddy. Well, we appreciate it. It was, for those that didn't know or realize, Bobby didn't know he was going to be on the show. We didn't either. So we certainly appreciate the short notice. Thank you for tuning in and chiming in and following along with some of our madness on any given week. And we love seeing Robert McCall and others, from DD. Danny Lindell's frequently out there on the board, and we love seeing all of the DD love and support. And we want to take it all and throw it back at you guys whenever we can as well. So we appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Thank you guys so much.
All right, have a good night. Take care.
All right, bye.
All right, there it is. Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, Bobby Brown.
So much going on. They do always.
Well, and that's just it. I know of, we see the output that he has on a daily or a weekly basis, but then everything that has to go on behind, filming, coming up with the ideas, filming it, getting it edited, getting it put out in the right places. And then one thing that he continues to do so well at is blast across various platforms. And it's easy to get, he mentioned that Facebook is one of his favorites, but what they're doing on Instagram, then what they're doing on Facebook or Facebook Live, and then also putting stuff out in an audio version on a podcast. There's a lot of moving parts there. And I think people sometimes value or underappreciate just what it all takes to make those happen. So
let's give something away.
All right, I'm good with that. So I at least had claimed these were all Patreon related giveaways. Is that sounds fair enough?
I'd like to do one non-Patreon giveaway.
All right. Well, they just get a hug then.
you get a hug. You win a hug anytime Terry sees you.
But only one. Not every time.
No, every time.
Okay, guess that works. Yeah, I'm good with that. Let's let's stick within the trilogy family here.
All right.
Here's a disc that we can give away. This is a Destiny. I want to thank Tri-Fly. I know they were a supporter. Many of you know I was just in Florida last, week and a half ago or so. Funny side story, my editing's pretty much done there except for graphics. But I was in Florida, and I know Tri-Fly was incredibly supportive of the South Florida Open presented by Dynamic Discs. And I know they are local to that area and then had this gorgeous disc. They gave it to me. I think they said I could keep it, but we're going to give it away because I guess that's the nicer thing to do. Although I'd like to keep it, but I'm not going to.
I'm excited. I'd like to get more companies involved in our giveaways to our patrons next year. We're already working, hopefully, with Disc Golf or a Disc Member, which is part of Disc Golf or Disc Store, excuse me. And I'd love, if other companies would like to help us and give stuff away to our patrons, we're all open ears, so we can maybe make some arrangements.
Well, we're going to also have another giveaway a little later, and it's going to be a little bit actually trivia-based. I had a quick conversation. I want to pull it up and make sure that I read it correctly. I'll find it later, but we're going to have a trivia-based competition to give away something a little bit later. But this one is just going to be an outright giveaway. How are we going to do it? Do you know?
That as an outright giveaway? I don't know. Come up with some silly
question. Other trivia?
Some silly question or...
Oh, well, now you're really... God, I'm going to have to think about it. Okay. Well, I have an idea, and I think it will be quite fitting. But let me double check.
Okay.
I want to get the answer because I think that is what would make sense. So here it is, and this is to be eligible.
You just
for this to count. It can be anyone. However, you're going to have to respond, and I'll give you a moment to do so. You're going to have to respond via YouTube comments. That's how we almost do all of our trivia or official responses.
The YouTube live chat.
YouTube live chat. So, yeah, if you're listening like a week later, don't go to YouTube and then try to comment.
The comments below this video, right? We'll do you no good right now.
Okay, so what I would like to know is, I just mentioned a few moments ago where this came from. I need the name of the person that won the Open Division and their total score. So the name of the person that won the tournament and their total score, raw score, actual
You need to
score
have
scored.
both portions correct in order to win.
I need at least first name, possibly first and last if you want to give it to me, but then their total strokes. Not an over or under, but their total strokes. And did you see the answer here, Johnny? So it's right there.
All right, I saw who it was. I didn't
And it's
know.
that individual.
And yeah,
Give you a hint. This individual may or may not have made his first ever appearance on our show recently.
it's kind of funny. It seems like the chat has really died down as everyone's out there
and
searching.
it's going to get hot and heavy. It's going to get so hot and so
remember,
heavy.
it's the first one that we see on our chat. You
Yes.
might have put it on first, but it is it's what I see right here.
If you're the only...
And actually, I could probably
Oh, you could bring it up on the screen.
I could probably do
So
that.
for all of our audio listeners listening in way too late. Oh, and Luke H is our...
winner.
Sometimes
Luke
it's
H.
it's how quickly you can Google or how fast you can ask Alexa. But Luke H is our winner. Nope, it was not Terry Miller with a 36. It was Big Putt Bill Sherman from out in California, San Jose. Address of, I'm just kidding. I think I do know your address, Bill. But Bill guessed it. 6. No. The tourney was the South Florida Open presented by Dynamic Discs. And this Tri-Fly stamped Destiny goes to Luke H. I'm guessing that's Luke Hainwall. He was the first to enter. Chris Dickerson and a score of 188.
Congratulations, Luke. We will. You can reach out to us at we haven't used this forever. SmashBoxxTV/winners.
Mm-hmm.
Let me verify that still works.
So you guys were close. There's been a number of people who have, in fact,
work. Yeah, so smashbox.tv/winners. You'll see a little form there. Go ahead and fill out everything that we need in that form, and we will make sure that Terry gets that out to you.
One interesting side note, I'll say, is, and if that's Luke, that's what's bring this all full circle for me. Luke, a year or two ago, had said, I would love a Matt Dollar signed disc. I ran into Matt Dollar at an event. I got a disc. I had Matt Dollar sign it. I've yet to hand that to Luke. In all fairness, I haven't seen Luke in a year or two. I came across the disc, I don't know, a month or so ago. It reminded me of this whole story. But really what I'm getting at, and it was asked earlier on the chat board, is where's Matt Dollar going?
Correct. He is
Matt Dollar made in a statement.
He's leaving Latitude 64 and moving. Is he even going somewhere is the question. Because he didn't say anything about switching teams, I don't believe. He just said that he was leaving Latitude 64. So he left it open-ended. Now, Bobby talked about 2 people they're signing, so he could be going over to DD. He could be one of those players.
Okay. Yep.
Could be. He could be going to anywhere else. He could be going to Legacy. He could be going to Prodigy. He could be going to maybe he could go to West Side.
Could he be going back to Innova, where he was previously
sponsored? Could be going to Innova. I don't know. He's a well-known name.
Mm-hmm. And I think he said he had his best year to date this year.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's a really good question. And unfortunately, we don't know anything. I'm just speculating, and I don't know. It would make sense for him to go back to Innova because he's familiar with the product.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Do you know something?
This time I do not.
Okay.
Nothing but guesses or speculation. And maybe out there someone knows. I will, Disc Golf Nerd, I don't know, is either speculating or suggesting that Dollar going to MVP. That's possible. That's a really good question. I don't know.
Well, Luke says if you want, you can send that other disc instead, or Terry can just double package them and send them together if he remembers.
Jeff Hawkins says that Dollar is maybe going to Lightning or ABC. There are a lot of possibilities.
Bold move, Cotton.
I mean, he's on that side of the country. Salient could be reemerging. Dollar is going to play and host a large-scale event live for Salient.
Franklin discs?
No. So we don't know. I will say this. Bobby had mentioned that there were 2 players that are yet to join or be announced that they're joining Dynamic Disc. I know of one of them, and the one that I know of is not Matt Dollar.
Correct.
But it could be. But it's the one I know is not. So that Jeff Hawkins says that Dollar and Bradley Williams are touring together. Okay.
I don't. I think that's a joke.
Unless they're just creating like an all Peoria tour, and they're just going to tour around in Peoria. I don't know if that would be true. I doubt it.
That would be pretty funny, though. I mean, that would be kind of funny where they just like, oh, yeah, no, there was a big misunderstanding. We mended our things. We're going to tour together.
Yeah, possibly. Disc Golf Nerd says ABC is toast, right? I don't know that for a fact. I know that Dan Pastore has had a number of, we'll say, priority switches. Dan Pastore has a large family, and Dan Pastore lives just a few hours south of us. I've known Dan for many, many, many years. There are very few people in this world that are more excitable out there than Dan Pastore. He's got nothing but heart and soul and passion in him.
One of the sweetest guys you'll ever meet.
And some may say he's even too sweet and may squeeze the sweetness right out of you while he's doing it. But I'm not sure where he's at with ABC, just to tell you the truth. I'm not sure where things stand. It would be a good idea to follow up with him. Daredevil is actually a name that we haven't heard. I know we had Ricky from Daredevil a year and a half ago, and I haven't heard too much about where they're at. I would genuinely love an update as to what's going on with Daredevil and where they're at. I know they were supportive of the Pro Tour in the opening year, but I do not believe they were a partner here in 2017. So I would be curious to know as to if there's more there. And Castoplast Disc is another one that I've heard a little bit about. And I think it was Jeff that I met out on the West Coast at one point, who is indirectly or directly linked to them. I don't know a lot about what they have going on, but it sounds like they're gaining a little bit of steam. So there's some updates that may or may not be happening on that side. All right.
There hasn't been a lot. I mean, we're obviously with the holidays, we haven't seen a lot of news. Just typical.
Just enough to bore you, huh?
Just enough to bore me. Oh, God, I saw Macbeth, and he was out running or some crap in the cold. I yawned.
That's cute.
And then I had like my 5th piece of apple pie. No, I'm just kidding. I did see, Paul post that he was out there, and I thought about this a little bit with Paul being on the East Coast with Hannah, being in general, a warm weather kind of guy in the past.
We've seen him in Huntington Beach, of course. We saw him in Florida for a year.
Oklahoma for a little bit.
Oklahoma, where it's not quite as warm as the other two, but yeah.
Is it going to affect his game? Is it going to take him? I mean, he might be in great physical shape, but if you're not out throwing discs regularly, even in the off season, is there going to be a little bit of rust to shake off come the beginning of the year? Not to say that he's going to be a bad player. Is it going to take him a tournament or two to warm up? I don't know. No one knows until we'll see it, but it's a different environment living where it's 60 to 80 as opposed to -6 to 8. So
yeah. Clearly, with his post the other day about still trying to work out regardless of the weather conditions, I don't know if that will overall impact what he's got going on. And I know they have access to plenty of facilities over there, and they both take it very seriously. So you're right. It'll be interesting to see how a different climate and a different situation for this year will impact him. A couple of the other comments that came in off the board talking about
Disc Golf Nerd is talking about some, and I think something you and I talked about off the air last week, about some top 50 disc golf YouTube list. And for those that don't know the reference, it seemed kind of scammy. It just it didn't.
No, it didn't. I was ranked number 1. That sounds
I
legit.
know, it totally sounds legit.
What are you
Not even
talking about?
SmashBoxx. It was the disc golf guy.
Yeah.
Uh,
As our cameraman would say, what's the problem?
what's the problem? I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I have no clue how that list came to be.
Yeah, I don't know either. But I know I've got a couple of follow-ups from them, and I don't take it all too serious.
No, it doesn't seem. It's yeah. We used to get when we first started up the channel, we'd get these like, "Hey, would you like to join our YouTube network?" And it was always a big scammy mess. And I always just look at that stuff and shake my head in general.
Yeah.
And then you watched Professional Tetris.
Yes, we did. As we closed out the show last week, we closed out the show, and then I was looking for something. I don't know if it was in the Twitch network or gaming or something along those lines, but something came up that brought me to that. And you and I sat and essentially watched the final round of the 2016 Tetris Championships, and then immediately, of course, it recommended you and pushed us right into the 2017 Tetris Championships. And I thought that was it was very entertaining.
There's a
to see.
dude that's like a 7-time Tetris champion.
Hey, spoiler,
Classic Tetris.
Spoiler.
Hey, if you
Don't
haven't seen by now, sorry. 7-time classic Tetris champion. Whatever. That's. I mean, it's great. Good for them. Good for him. That's
Sure.
I love Tetris.
I'd rather be 7-time than no time.
That's a good.
I mean, if that's one way to look at it, right?
Yeah, I'm not begrudging him at all.
William Jenkins asks a great question, saying, "Hey guys, is there any new molds coming in 2018, or any you think the sport needs?" And I think that's a really great way to word it.
Well, UC made a post, as he always does, asking if is it R&D dollars or was it the PDGA that, and I think he used the term, is holding back equipment. And there were some people that were saying, well, with the current PDGA specs as they are, maybe that is kind of holding back disc development. Like, why isn't the Epic allowed anymore? Why isn't that a PDGA legal disc anymore?
Okay.
I mean, because it doesn't fit the specs, because one side is a huge lip and the other is. And I think, would disc golf be really worse off with a disc like that? We used to see, oh my God, like the turbo putter, and there was one with a giant bulb on it. It looked like half a baseball stuck on the top of it, and he just said equipment. He wasn't even. I don't necessarily know if he was talking about discs. He was talking about baskets. He was talking about gloves, friction gloves, or whatever. It's an interesting conversation to be had, because how much R&D is going into this stuff? If, would a Discmania really put forth the tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars on a new type of plastic that they know doesn't meet PDGA spec? Or maybe it's too hard, maybe it's too soft, maybe, I don't know. But it doesn't necessarily meet the spec. If they know, well, it's not going to bother, why should we do it? Even though Simon could throw it an extra 100 feet, if it doesn't quite meet, PDGA requirements, what's the point? So where is that? Is it the fact that they don't want to spend R&D? Is it the PDGA? Is it a combination of both? I did see that out there, and I didn't get a chance to follow up in the last couple days, but it was an interesting conversation.
Well, I guess let me ask you specifically: do you feel like the specs are holding us back? Before you answer, go ahead. Yeah, I want to hear what you have to say.
I don't think this. That's a
because
tough,
is it a chicken and egg?
Like, it is, and that's
because the specs are set the way they are.
Could the specs be adjusted? Is the question. There has to be. It's certain diameter. It can only be so high compared to the light of the rim of the disc and the lip, and there's all these different specs. But if someone came out and said, "Hey, look, this is close, but it doesn't quite match up the specs, but it's better. It looks better." Would the PDGA look at that?
Okay. Well,
you could say the specs are holding, but you could also say, are the specs of baseball holding back home runs? The bats can only be so big.
Exactly.
The fields. I don't think there's a regulation on the field size. I'm sure there's a minimum.
I'm sure there are to some degree. Yeah.
So there's that question, or are the basket? If someone came up with a much better basket, and we've seen people have their own take on baskets, everything from things that are, modified holes in the ground to one-sided baskets. To we've seen a whole number of different things. So I don't know.
Okay.
It's hard to say until someone comes up with something.
I feel like this, if the specs are in place and you are adhering to the specs and you're designing and developing to the specs, I feel like you are you're there. You're doing everything. If you're playing by within the set of rules that are established, then I think everything's fair game within those set of rules. And I think it's almost what's the word? I don't know what the words I'm looking for. Words are tough tonight. I almost don't think it's a fair question. I don't think you're obviously you're not comparing apples to apples at that point, because you're talking about what's known and established versus, well, the what if out there. Well, sure. Are there other ways we could achieve a disc to go 1,200 feet regularly? I bet you there are. I bet you if we alter all of the specs, there's a lot of different things that can be done.
Sure, as someone said, put a hole in the top like an Aerobee.
Sure. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, which have been, thrown over 1,000 feet or 1,200 feet or whatever the number is. So, of course, there are different ways to achieve. I guess it just depends on what you want your end results to be, because throwing further, yeah, that can be done in other ways, as you just mentioned. So, I don't know. I understand. I think it's sure, it can be a question worth asking. I'm just saying I think...
Is there a need for it either is the other question. Do we need our players throwing further, or have we hit a really good distance? Because there's an argument to be made. It's tougher to build longer courses because there's just not there's not always the land for these monster 1,000-foot 1,000-foot holes that have a course that has 6 or 7 or 8 of them. And so do we really need it, or are we good with what we have right now? And maybe we, it gets addressed in a couple years. I'm not sure.
And we could, I think one of the interesting things that can be talked about in terms of research and development and disc development, besides what we've seen with some of the chips that are approved to be put into disc, you look at someone like Vibram, who's obviously come out with a rubber composite versus what we'd consider the standard plastic composite. And some people are talking about on the board, old Champion Edition plastic, and does that have pros or cons? I'm just a big fan of, if it fits into what the current specs are and it adheres to all of those standards, I think it's within the developer or the designer to then get creative but still fitting within those specs. So that's where I would place the challenge. And just that, we've seen Vibram do that in the way that they've, came to the market with a rubber solution versus one of the, we'll say, kind of typical plastic solutions. I'm good with that. I'd be curious to know if we're going to have any other types of elements or mixtures or composites, whatever you want to call them. Where I think of like a.
So you're thinking it's more materials.
To me, I think that's where there's still some room, I would assume, for some creativity and for some advancement. But then again, I don't know how much further we can get disc to fly. And I don't know if that should be a focus within the sport of disc golf.
It should be a focus for the manufacturers. I think as a manufacturer, it's your job to be pushing, in theory, it's your job to be pushing the limits. It's your job to be trying to find out what can we do to improve our product.
Okay. Do you think the manufacturers, here's another way to word it then, are the manufacturers failing us if they don't have discs that are going, I'll just make up a number, if they don't have discs that are going 600 feet even for bad players or players with poor form? Are they failing us? Are they not doing a good job with research and development?
No, I mean, that's so hard to say because who knows if that's possible. But that might not be possible.
Are they failing us if we don't have a Wiggins or a Lizotte or someone eventually throw a disc 1,500 feet?
I don't know what the physical specimen of a human body can do. I don't know. I mean, is Louisville, I'll bring it back, is Louisville failing us because a player can't hit an 800-foot home run? And
one would think maybe we have gotten to a plateau of sorts.
Short of having Mother Nature blow your disc to 1,200 feet.
Stephen Moore says tracking chips RFID needs to be a thing, and I think there's
working on it. I mean, as the technology gets better, Bluetooth will get better, the different specs and the sizes will come down. It will be better. It will get better. So, and
Trevor comes to the discussion here tonight with a real question. Are they going to remove the route that Conrad tripped over at Maple Hill? Now that's something that needs to get discussed.
Conrad had some problems that week. I mean, you saw him fall off the front of the tee pad at one point on hole 1, and then I think that was earlier in the week. And then, I mean, because obviously the way he throws, he just puts all that force and power behind it, and he isn't the most stable of guys when he's coming off the tee pad. And then he hits that root on hole.
That was hole 1, yeah.
And then on top of that, I think he almost fell down on a jump putt. I think it was hole 2 or 3. Like he had a whole stretch there of those holes. I don't know if it was all at once, but or I think the hole 1 was maybe a round earlier. So anyway, that was discussion. We'll see. I mean, as technology advances, we'll see different things in discs. I mean, ultimately, what should the PDGA allow a carbon fiber disc that's not as flexible that could literally kill somebody?
Well, and
you've run into safety issues.
Yeah, and I keep going back to the specs that are in place. Talk about a certain amount of, is rigidity a word? Rigidity. Some of those specs are already built in, and there's a flex test and all those types of things, and how sharp the beveled edge can actually be on a disc, and all those types of things. Those things are accounted for. Could there, in fact, be more restrictions placed on those, or more specs put in place, or could some of them be removed? I don't know, but right now, you have to build to the specs that are currently in place, and I think people have to. There has to be some kind of restriction or constraint somewhere, and we have a set of them currently. Build to those.
Yeah, and it benefits nobody other than. I take it back. It benefits no manufacturer, but God, would I love to see a standardized disc throwing machine.
Correct, and that could be used not just for the discs, but I think ultimately on testing baskets.
Correct. Baskets might be a little tougher to practice with because
you set them up in different spots. You have different targets or zones or areas in which a disc is thrown exactly the same at a basket. Maybe if you're looking at a basket, maybe there's 9 different zones, or what would that be? 10, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 9 different zones where a disc is then shot at a basket, and then how that basket catches or not, it gives it some kind of a rating or a grade. I would love to see that. I think that's a ways off right now, but I would love to see something that's a little less subjective or partial or impartial. I mean,
and again, it benefits no manufacturer, because if suddenly one manufacturer says theirs is a speed 11, another manufacturer says, oh, ours is a speed 10, suddenly the 10 goes further, or however you want to decide is faster, then I'm saying there's not there's no manufacturer that really is going to be interested in doing that, but it's something I would love to see. Just it would put a lot of things to rest.
Well, and I've said forever, if I were to start a disc golf manufacturing company tomorrow, I guarantee you I'd have a speed 25 disc or better. It would immediately, I would skip any other marketing, and I'd go right to I've got a speed 25, and I'd come up with some stupid way to justify calling it a 25. Oh, no. I'm not using that current 1 to 15 scale. It would be a 25.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, exactly. I'd get over on all y'all. Anyway, all right, guys. We are, I think, going to be go ahead to wrap it up here.
We'll get to the after show where we'll give a bunch of stuff away.
We're going to have more stuff to give away in the after show. In fact, I literally have a stack of random items, random but nice items that we'll be able to give away during the after show. So if you want to participate, you got your freebie in here tonight if you're not a Patreon member. Author Eyes is also giving away a pack of Disc Golf Pro Tour trading cards. That will be trivia based.
A pack or a deck?
A pack, a single pack.
Is that all the stuff we're giving away?
I think so, unless you have more.
No. Well, no.
Well, we can decide how we want to divvy it up, but there's a handful of different items, some of which you can't get anywhere else in the world except from me. Well, there's some custom stuff.
All right.
Yeah. All right, we're going to call it. It's been fun. I want to thank Bobby Brown, Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, of course, for joining us. We hope that Dana's daughter and other daughter, both of his daughters, are in good health as they're fighting through some illness over at the house. So we missed you, Dana, but hopefully the family recovers. For Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the SmashBoxxTV podcast 175 after show. After snow.
There wasn't a lot of snow. It was like I was gone all weekend, so I came back late last night, and I looked. I was like, ugh, it's snow. And then we walked all over it. And for those of you that live in snowy environments, the minute you walk on fresh snow, it turns to ice. Usually, it's a lot harder to shovel. But because it was so bitter cold, the snow actually didn't turn to ice because it never melted and refroze. So this morning or this afternoon, I went to shovel, and it all came up in sheets of snow, big giant chunks. So it was super easy to shovel. I was very happy because I didn't want to have to get out and really salt.
All right. I am just getting a confirmation. I think we're going to have a ridiculous giveaway here in a moment once I can confirm. And it looks like we are. I'm going to set this up by saying, and we're going to get right to one of our first giveaways. So this is Patreon related. You have to be in on this action. I don't know how long the
All right, we restarted the stream. We should be coming back up in a second.
All right.
All right, we restarted the stream. Hopefully that fixed any sort of lag that may have been out there. I don't know, but that we'll find out. If you are a Patreon supporter, please go ahead and make a post out on our chat, the live chat, so we can find out how many people are out here.
Okay. Well, we're going to have at least one of the giveaways here tonight will be a live giveaway. The other ones will be kind of our standard where we pull some names and then we give you stuff and then we need, to get in touch with you to get things sent out. The first one we're going to do is going to be of a different nature, and that you're going to have to respond live. Now, if they're a Patreon, so I'd have to preface it by saying only answer if you are a Patreon supporter. Is that that's going to have to be the best way we're going to have to do it? Yeah.
Yeah. If you're a Patreon supporter.
All right. So
we have a few. All right. So we have a few out there.
And if there's only 3 of you, then you're going to win one heck of a surprise here. Someone says, I thought I'm a Patreon supporter, but I never see my name in the credits. Sounds like a Johnny V.
That could be a problem with me. Who is it? Who said that?
He says PayPal takes my money for it.
Well, what's the name?
Oh, there's a couple of new supporters out there. Oh, MC Geisky, I think it was, said it a moment ago. It says that the buffering is still really bad, a few people say. So we're going to try and work through that. What I'm going to tell you guys about right now, though, is a few days ago, or maybe it was even yesterday, I noticed a post on Instagram, and it said, Disc Golfers, we're hiring. To which I immediately say, well, I'll update my resume. I don't care who you are or what you're doing. It sounds like I need to update my resume. And the comment was, if you're tired of driving for Uber and ready to get hashtag Disc Golf Rich, visit authoreyes.com/jobs for more info. So author-eyes.com/jobs is the place you can go. I clicked on it a little bit earlier. Talks about opportunity to get the experience that every other job requires you have. We're offering 6 to 12-month internships to highly...
All right, let's see if that's any better.
All right, are we back?
It says it's connecting, so we should be coming back any second now. So we're going to see if that's any better. Doing a quick restart of the services, and we will see if that makes
so real
any
quickly
difference.
In layman's terms, what not what is happening necessarily, because we're just being told that there's lag. What ultimately are you trying to do to fix this?
Restarting.
You're restarting one of our programs? Multiple programs?
Yeah, I'm restarting vMix, so hopefully that should... It was funny because it was giving me, I saw an error. There was an error going on through the entire show, but everybody said during the regular broadcast we were fine.
Okay.
You went away. I looked at it. It still says it's kind of doing it here. It said it was fine, and then of course now it's acting stupid again. So
maybe YouTube doesn't want us giving away a ton of free great product tonight.
That could be.
We're cutting into their profit margins over the Googles and at the YouTubes. So it's currently telling the world that we are lagging.
That we are
not lacking, lagging.
Not lacking, but lagging. Now the question is it? And I've checked all the normal settings,
and
nothing is different.
This is really just our way to tease out
some prizes that we've been
our prizes
that we want to give away. The only other thing I can think,
I'm currently checking the speed test at your house, and it seems to be through the roof, almost literally.
Yeah.
Well, not so much on that side.
Yeah, that's very low.
I wonder if it's something on my computer. Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah, that would make me upset. If it was your computer the whole time?
It definitely certainly shouldn't be. I don't know what my computer could possibly be doing.
No, I can't imagine it would be your computer, but...
So for those that are looking for or care about any of the specific details, Johnny has a pretty robust
internet connection.
And our download speeds are amazing. Unfortunately, download doesn't really do anything for us. It's really all about the upload speed, and it seems as if the upload speed is okay, but not impressive at the moment. Normally, it's in the impressive to like crazy territory.
Well, I know the West Bend area north of us was having an issue today, but that is not the problem that we have or we were. So.
So we're going to make sure that everything's as good as we can make it here before we do any of our sweet action giveaways. Or maybe we'll do one that doesn't require a response first. That would be another way to go about it. Free stuff. Everybody loves free stuff.
Yeah, the upload is garbage. I mean, that's very strange. Okay, everyone's saying it's better now. So
all right.
Let's give something away.
Let's give something away. We're gonna come back to author eyes, and we'll give something away later for that. So for starters, we're gonna do something else. We're gonna give away a Disc Golf Guy towel, which I know you don't get too many other places unless you get it from me. A Disc Golf Guy towel, and how about an Innova trucker cap? All right, so we're gonna give you a hat and a towel, totally free, as long as you're a Patreon supporter. So a hat and a towel. You've got all our Patreon supporters all dialed up?
I do.
So this is not trivia based. All you have to do is be a Patreon supporter, and that's going to go to...
All right, I'm going to make sure that maximize that. We're going to show it. So
we're going to show it live? Oh, what
whoops, not that one.
Another
Bam, that
old
one.
move here.
All right, so we have 157 patrons right now. Here is the list of patrons. There you are. Let everyone know. They're in no specific order other than how they were downloaded. 157, I'm hitting generate. We got number 98.
Oh, 98. Is 98 your lucky number?
98 is Jeff Hungerford's lucky number.
Yes, PDJ number 688. And I know I talk about him on the show often because he's all around the country and a super nice guy. But I don't think he's ever won before. So Jeff Hungerford is going to get himself a towel and a hat. So thank you very much, Jeff. I hope you made it back all the way from Florida back to Colorado safely. And glad to send you a towel and a hat. So thank you so much.
Definitely. We appreciate it.
We're going to give away something. We're going to go rapid fire and give one more item away right away. How about... Show us. I think we showed you a cool one. The towel and the hat. This time, let's give away a SmashBoxxTV towel.
Nice.
Another one of these, which, again, if you order stuff from me, you may get from time to time. I think this one's even a little bit larger. Might be a 16 by 16 inch. So a nice microfiber SmashBoxxTV towel. And... from a few weeks ago, this looks like a dyed champion Mamba from the Cold Turkey 12 that I ran a few weeks ago. So you're getting a disc and a towel. These two combined, you're talking at least a, I don't know, $22, $23 retail value. Disc and a towel.
Well, I'm adding Luke Hainwall to the list because I saw he became a patron a couple minutes ago. So I'm going to add him to the list. So we now have 158 people.
All right.
So 158.
Getting intense here. So we got a disc and a towel giving away, and that's going to go to...
All right. Let's let everyone see it. There we go. 1 to 158. We generate. Number 61, Luke, you are at the bottom of this list, just so you know, you're right there. Number 61 is Anthony Farrow, F-A-U-R-O-T, Forot or Farrow. So congratulations, Anthony. We appreciate your patronage. Merry Christmas.
Thank you
Happy holidays.
very much. And I've shipped, I don't know if I'm thinking of Anthony's Patreon disc from from 2 months ago, or if he won something somewhat recently. But either way, getting at it. Love it. Thank you so much, Anthony. We appreciate it. Yeah, I know Dad's drunk. You're saying, ooh, a SmashBoxxTV towel. Only a few hundred have ever been produced. Microfiber, thanks to our friends over at Paragon Disc Golf, Miles Parkhill.
They work great on the course or in your bathroom as a hand towel. Your wife will love it.
Yes. All right. Oh, Johnny, someone suggests we give away your Bitcoin.
Just a quarter of a Bitcoin. $4,000
giveaway. I was going to say, what's that worth now?
So the funny thing is, so we talked about it last week.
And the last 3 weeks before that.
Yeah, we've talked about it quite a bit. But it took a major crash.
Oh, hold on.
It was at...
Let me find my shocked face.
I know. It was at 19,000. It shot up I think it was like last Wednesday or maybe or Thursday. And then at some point just plummeted. And a lot of people, there's a lot of theories as to why it was. People are selling off before selling before Christmas, that it's big bubble, this and that. So it dropped down to, I think at one point, $12,000. So it lost like a third a third of its value almost. And now it's climbing back up. It's at like 15,000.
Okay. And you own a quarter.
I own a quarter of a Bitcoin and 0.75 of an Ethereum. And I told
when are you quitting your job already?
Not soon enough. Not soon enough.
Okay. All right. So
I should give away some of these cards too. I've got all these spares.
Well, here's what we're gonna do, and this is actually, believe it or not, going to be the second largest valued figure I think maybe ever we've given away live on the show. We are giving away, and it's not us actually. Let me not take any credit for this whatsoever. We are going to give away. We're gonna do it to just our Smashies. We're backtracking on the trivia component because that's gonna be a little bit too chaotic. So I'm gonna make another plug for them because they are giving this away. This is Tom over at Author Eyes. Follow him on Instagram. He's doing a ton of great work for disc golf. He's looking to expand. Go out to you can find author_eyes on Instagram, or you can go to author-eyes.com/jobs, and they are giving away an entire deck.
Wow.
An entire deck. As Johnny's flipping through individual cards here, they're giving away an entire deck of Disc Golf Pro Tour cards. So please, I don't know if those are still available for purchase, and B, I think that's like a $60 or $70 or $1,000 value, something like that. DGPT.com. We go out there. Do you remember how much that is?
I want to say it was like $50 or $60
at least. So we're gonna give those away to one of our patrons right now.
All right, to our Patreon supporters. I want to double check.
So you do not have to necessarily be present and all that other stuff I know we talked about at one point.
Make sure I'm gonna update my email. Make sure I haven't gotten any more. No more patron supporters. So, all right. So now we are giving away a full
deck.
Full deck.
Can you show an example? Although these will come from Tom.
So here's an example of a sealed deck. These come with all of the basic cards, 65 of the Pro Tour cards. Each Pro Tour card looks something like this. This is Johnny McRae. I have a whole stack of them over here. But you are going to be getting a deck. So the full collection, other than the special champion cards, which you can only get by ordering the packs, of which I only have a few of.
I'm going to go out and look right now and see. Only 200 decks were made. Every pack includes all 65 common cards, including 50 men and 15 women. You are guaranteed to get the complete set of cards all within this deck, and they go for $59.95. Is the full retail value on these. And again, with only 200 of these decks made, and I know a lot of people have already claimed them. I'm not sure if you can even still get them, but this is all thanks to author-eyes.com/jobs. Go out there. They're hiring. There's information out there if you want something to do with disc golf. Please go out and check them out, as they're looking to grow and expand. So, who is the lucky Patreon supporter that's getting this deck of cards?
All right.
That will be shipped from Tom directly to you.
From Tom. All right, let's pull up the random.org. I did a refresh on the page as I do every time just to make sure. So it's 1 through 158. I'm going to hit generate. Well, before I do that, should I reorganize the names?
Yeah, sure. We'll
all
keep
right.
it random.
So,
it's all random.
I'm going to sort by last name this time. Data, sort column B, Z to A. So now as you can see, everyone's here.
Somebody who won earlier could have won again. Could win again.
Yep.
Are we going to let multiple win? Let's change it up. If you won one of the tonight,
there will be no multiple winners tonight. Now, if you won a week ago, 2 weeks ago, that's fine, but not tonight. One and done. So 158. We're going to hit generate. We got number 82.
So assuming that's not the same person that's won one of the other two tonight.
82 is Murdoch Lock.
Murdoch Lock.
Murdoch Lock.
All right. Murdoch Lock, you are the winner. And again, that all goes to Tom. The thanks goes to Tom over at authoreyes.com. Who, if you look on their Instagram, says we are a freelance media company serving clients, including Dynamic Disc, Dude, and Alta World. Wow, if I could only spit that out.
Cool.
So please and thank you for the support. We really appreciate that. Gosh, all these giveaways. What are we doing? No. Did we specify Patreon? Yes, he did. We did. That's how it's going to happen.
Yes, via
Thanks to our Patreon supporters.
Yep.
And Will Jenkins is out on the board, or your login is Will Jenkins. Will, reach out to me personally on Facebook. If you did not receive your Patreon disc and you were in what should have been the first batch,
yep,
please.
I have a list here in a spreadsheet of all the updated people that did not get a disc that maybe signed up after, I think, September or October when we sent them out. So we will be you will get those as soon as I send them to Terry. So if your name is on that list, send a message to Terry and say, hey, I didn't get mine, and I'll take a look at my list and say we do need to update and send out the remaining. I think there's 8 to 10 additional people that we need to send them out now for. So you may be on that list. All right. What else are we doing? What else? We got so much stuff.
I don't know. Let's tease it out. We'll have a little bit more to give away in a little while. I still have a couple more towels. I've got a SmashBoxxTV shirt that we'll be giving away. And the grand finale of tonight's giveaway will include another pair of Keen shoes. And here's the one caveat. You must take the code that I send you. You must go out and get registered right away, or if you want me to do it, I can on your behalf to ensure that it happens. But these need to be ordered by December 31st. So you just got to hurry on your free shoes. I hope that's not too much of a pain for you. But you're going to have to hurry up on your free shoes.
I was going to say, I wore my Keens earlier today. I'm in my slippers right now.
Every day for the last 4 or 5 years, I've had a pair of Keens on. And when some people think about Keens, you may think about what you see out on the course. These are a pair of the black slip-on shoes. I forget the brand, not the brand, the model of these. I effing love these shoes. I've now been wearing these for a little over a year. And when you look at them at first glance, you wouldn't be like, oh, yeah, those are obviously Keens. But they are, in fact, Keens. And I love these shoes. So
that's awesome.
When you go out there and you go to the site that allows you to order the Keens, there are boots, obviously, which are pretty much in season right now. There's shoes, there's sandals. There's a little bit of everything. And these slip-ons have been my go-to shoes for more than a year now, among all the other shoes that I have from Keen. So huge thanks to Keen for supporting Disc Golf, for supporting SmashBoxx and all that. And so many of our players, Nate and Val and Paige Pierce all come to mind right off the top. But, David Felberg and Ken Kleinmo, to name a few more. All right, so we're going to be giving that away. Another pair of Keens. I know we've given a couple other pairs away this year, and I've given a couple pair away. But we're going to give away a code for another pair of Keen shoes tonight yet.
I'm going to give away
in the after show.
I'm going to give away one of these cards.
What? One of these cards?
I don't know who, though, so I'm going to take a vote out on the board.
Or you could let them decide if they're out there.
No, I just want someone's going to get one. I don't want to deal with that. We got Peter McBride, Johnny McRae, Jeremy Colling, and Greg Barsby. So
we've gone from the quietest to the loudest in our sport. Is that what your order was?
No, that wasn't the exact order, but really,
close.
That's close. I mean, that's a toss-up between Germ and
Barsby.
As far as who's louder. It depends on where you're at.
And Peter McBride, definitely one of the
quietest. So please go ahead and put it out on the chat board. Just whoever it is, and then
our very unofficial poll. We'll give one of those away.
Do we have anything on disc golf? Anything that we
actually disc golf related, other than us giving away free stuff? I don't think I have too much. I'm looking forward. I know I teased it out a little last week, and I know we talked about it a little bit with Bobby. I'm looking forward to finding out the right way to get the best phone call recording to call tournament directors. There's a little hint to call tournament directors to do a podcast of a certain format that I want to do. So I want to put that out there, and I'll look for your expertise and what industry standards are out there for best, whether it's directly through my phone or using a computer. I think phone call will actually sound the best. I'm hoping, but I'm excited to actually get moving on one or two new podcast ideas. And then for me personally, I'm gonna say I'm looking to be in Arizona. I think twice during January. I think the 19th, 20th, and 21st. The Shelly Sharp Memorial is taking place, and then the following weekend is the Maricopa Meadows tournament.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to do post-production coverage. I'd like to do it at both of those events. If you want to support that or have some advertising in that, you or your club or your company or an upcoming event, we can put that right into there, and then somebody will know about an upcoming event. So I'm going to be looking for some ways to help support me getting out there to cover it. Neither of those events are big time events, so there's not a lot of budget there, and I'm not looking to get rich. I just want to go out and cover some more golf and provide it to you guys. So those are things that I'm looking for personally in the next few weeks. Quickly worth covering is we fully anticipate a show next Tuesday on the 2nd.
No reason not to.
Okay. So that's easy enough. Big Putt Bill Sherman asks, is the Memorial your next gig? No, by our next live gig is no, not technically not.
True.
Our next live disc golf gig.
Our next live disc golf gig is.
But in a few weeks, you can watch Cornhole Championships taking place on SmashBoxxTV.
If everything goes right.
That's the plan. Will Jenkins says, I'm going to play the tourney in Waco. We'll be traveling to that leg of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Awesome. We'll see you out there for sure. So current vote Dad's Drunk says is McBride 0, Germ 0, Johnny McRae 1, and Barsby 10.
So I guess we're giving away the Barsby card, which I'm okay with. I just quickly scrolled through my spare cards and found the ones I had the most of, which means somebody has not a lot of these.
Yeah, and I'm going to follow it up and say I made an investment this year into the Disc Golf Pro Tour cards that I neglected to do last year, which is I actually went out and bought sleeves. So I didn't go out. I ordered in from Amazon.
You see what I have right there? A bunch of sleeves.
Yeah, but I bought hard cases last year, but this year, in addition to hard cases, I bought sleeves that will actually go into a binder.
Correct. I have.
Yeah, not the soft sleeves or the hard cases.
I have these hard cases.
Wow, those are
serious cases.
Wow.
And then, look at that.
So,
and then I also am going out and buying soft sleeves. My son has a bunch of soft sleeves for his Pokemon cards, so I'm going to go out and buy some of those. And then you put those actually into the binder as well.
Yeah. Okay. So these are the sleeves that I bought last year, which are just a little bit thicker. I think these actually do you just fine. I bought the 9-up sleeves so that I can put them all. I'll put all cards into a binder.
What you should do: buy soft sleeves.
Okay.
Like single card soft sleeves.
Yep.
Slide them in there and then put them into the 9-card sleeve.
They'll fit?
They should, yes.
Okay.
I'll have to double check that because you don't.
You want me to double sleeve it?
Basically, I want you to double sleeve it. I don't trust you.
And what's the reasoning?
It helps for the corners and stuff like that. Sliding them in and out can be a thing. And I'll double check because my son, like I said, he has a bunch of Pokemon cards that he double sleeves, and that's just the standard way to store them. I found out.
I mean, if it can easily be done, that I put it in a smaller soft sleeve and then put it into the.
Maybe when we go upstairs, we'll sneak in my kid's room, steal his Pokemon cards, and I'll show you.
Great idea. I'd be all over that. All right, cool one asks, Terry Miller, Johnny V, what are your thoughts regarding the bombshell that Joe Mez is covering ball golf? Means you can dominate disc golf now? No. First of all, they're probably not going anywhere. Well, maybe they are. If they got paid way more money, which they probably would in ball golf, then maybe they would step aside from disc golf. I still want to know what all those details were. I'm not sure what exactly Bobby was dropping. And maybe someone else out there knows more than we do, which isn't a big surprise.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a big surprise.
I don't know what is being referenced whatsoever when they speak of. I mean, they market themselves as a media/news company, and clearly they can take all of their skill sets. Yeah, I don't I don't know exactly what that means.
Well, hopefully, maybe they. I mean, if I had to take a wild guess, there's maybe a local tournament that they're a golf tournament that they're maybe covering, and that would be pretty cool. Good for them if that's the case.
Okay, yeah, and that doesn't mean we're going to dominate anything. I think that's we're going to continue to hopefully thrive and grow within the live side. There's still going to continue to be a lot of great entities out there in post-production, and we'll all continue to do our best to work together. That's about all I can say to that. And I know that sounds like kind of a lame BS political response, but it's totally true. So Dad Strong says, I'm not looking to get rich is the tagline every pyramid scheme. True.
So very true.
How about SmashBoxxTV disc golf fundraiser tournament? That's something that would be interesting to do. I feel like we'd almost have to do it outside of Wisconsin. Just and here's the logic: grab, and I guess GBO is a bad example because it's so massive, but grab an event that we're going to be at, that's already going to be going on, that's a good or a well-established or a well-attended event, and then host something just before or after it on a smaller scale. I think that would be our best chance for success. I don't know if we'd get a ton of people to jump on that, be like, hey, come out, it's a $20 flex start, and then you got to give them something, whether it's a disc or a hat or a shirt or a towel. I just don't know how many people would play in it. Or
I would rather, and this is something we've talked about, do a live competition of some sort, like a sub competition. You know, kind of how the Pro Tour has their games, you know, whether it's disc tac-toe or things like that. Come up with something fun that we can do after an event and go live with it. And then just what you do is you charge $1. Like, hey guys, you know, it's going to be Yuli versus Coling. It's the game of disc, and we have a little bracket system.
Sure.
And then we, you know, at each Pro Tour stop, you do something like that, and you say, oh hey, guess what? It's going to be $1. It's never going to be free on YouTube. If you want to pay for it, it'll be 99 cents or whatever their cheapest thing is. And a small portion will go to each player, or we'll pay them, you know, $20 to sit around and do that for us, or maybe they'll do it for free. Who knows? But then at the end of the year, you know, maybe at the Disc Golf Pro Tour finale or wherever the Hall of Fame or USDGC or wherever we are, where these guys are finishing up, you have like a finals, and you do the same thing for the finals. I would like to see something like that.
So it'd be a sub competition that then culminates at a final event.
Correct. And I would want it to be nothing strenuous, because these guys get off the course and do things like that. But if you just did like a fun game of disc or something that didn't involve them putting in that much effort, because we've talked about, oh, it'd be cool to do like a Monday competition, so and so against so and so. These guys have to travel. With the tour as busy as it is these days, it's basically finish up your event, get to the next event, practice, and get going. There's almost no time for those extra competitions anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 3 or 4 years ago when we were talking about it before the Pro Tour and the World Tour, there was a little bit of space. You just don't get that anymore. So something that would be very easy for for 2 players or 4 players or whatever it would be to compete against each other, it would take, you know, 10, 15, 20 minutes out of their day, and we could do 1 or 2 of them.
Okay. Other ideas coming in off the board. Having them play washers, cornhole, spike ball, can jam. There's a lot of other fun games that could be done. Dad's Drunk says, I played spike ball with all of them in Jacksonville, and it got super intense. It usually does. When you have someone like Paige and Madison, for instance, who are both really good, or a Melton and an Austin Turner, all those guys getting in on it, it's pretty sweet. Matthew Swanson says, SmashBoxx needs to sell discs on the website. That's also something that can be explored further. It's like any other time, though, you have discs. It becomes tough as to what do you have in stock, how many do you have, what brands do you go, what molds. Not to say that clearly, I mean, we've run a few. I've kept the runs relatively small and the offerings relatively small. I just know as soon as we could order 500 discs from manufacturer A, and the first question will be, oh, well, do you have such and such discs from that same manufacturer? Or, unfortunately, someone then says, well, what about this manufacturer, that manufacturer? And It's like any time, and I've literally sold tens of thousands of discs in my lifetime. I think it's a great idea. I think you're more likely to see maybe a couple different support packages or offerings that it comes with a disc and maybe a shirt and a towel, or it comes with a number of things where hopefully you like the disc, but it's just one piece of a larger offering.
And it's not discs. And I think I reached out to you on this. I never heard back. Go figure. I would love to set up like a Teespring or something along some sort of merchandise shop where people can just go and order something, where we don't have to have stock, where Miles, as much as I want to support Miles, and we every chance we get, we push Paragon. It's not realistic for us to say, all right, Miles, we want to be ready to have cups, shirts, sweatshirts, underwear, pants, headphones. Whereas if you go to like a Teespring, those things can be ordered pretty much one-off. They're more expensive to do it that way, but they can be screen printed. So at least you have, like, here's the Smashbox store. If you want a sweatshirt, it's going to run you $40 as opposed to the $30 you could get it if we went through Miles or whatever that would be. That's the next step. I would like to
potentially pursue. I just think the one downside to that is the revenues, the all the added money that it costs the end purchaser goes into Teespring's pockets ultimately.
I agree.
And I don't know. Obviously there's pros and cons
of course,
to it.
And like I said, I would love to see more avenues of things to put the logo on, and the different versions of the logo we have now I think are cool. But ask again, if we were for sure going to do like a run of 50, you go to Miles. But when you want to do a run of 5 or just have them available so someone can order them and then nobody has to worry about it. Now maybe it's something Miles can do. Sure. But I know he takes care of he does a lot of stuff for the Pro Tour and things like that. And it's something we need to discuss. I've had a tab sitting open on my desktop for a couple different ones of those particular companies, and I've just been sitting on it.
All right, let's give something away. We know you guys are all looking for it. And also, have you been doing a good job? Have you been writing down who's won anything?
Not a single one yet.
Whoops.
I'm going to go back tomorrow and look through the podcast. Okay. So.
All right. Well, in the meantime, we should keep, maybe moving forward. I think, Luke was the first one. And then Andy Farrow, I think, was the third one.
Yep.
We have someone.
We did.
We've done 2 or 3. Oh, we've done 3. We've got a shirt and a hat. Or I'm sorry, we've done a towel and a hat, a disc and a towel. And then we did the cards. Thank you to author-eyes.com. And now let's do a shirt. So this is a SmashBoxxTV 50/50 shirt, meaning it's a soft one, which everybody loves. And if you're not into soft shirts, I think you're doing it wrong. I love all my soft shirts. And a very, very limited run. It's another towel, but this is a Bevel Craft Brewing towel. And I know for a fact only a couple hundred of these were produced. These were given out at an event that I ran in conjunction with Bevel in the Explorium Brew Pub earlier in the year. And so this is a Bevel towel. I don't even know if Nate and Val have any of these. But we're going to give away this towel along with a SmashBoxxTV soft shirt, super soft shirt. And we're giving away this combo. So, Johnny?
All right. I resorted the names, people. And this time it's by first name.
Okay.
Oh, that's not the one I want to show.
If anybody has a running...
I'll write this one down.
Oh, there goes all the stuff. It's all fallen.
All right, so as you can see, I resorted them by first name this time. Starting with Adam, going all the way down to Zach. We have 158.
158.
158, so we're going to hit generate a number.
Pays to be a Smashy.
57.
Well, you pay, and then the Patreon, you get it.
57.
Wow. The richest Smashy on the planet.
Jake Harris. You're kidding me. I love Jake Harris. But he is the luckiest Smashy to have ever smashed a Smash. He wins. It's like I don't understand how it works.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't won tonight, thankfully, but now he has.
Yeah.
But he has won. It's like his third time winning.
Wow.
Wow.
And if you do like that
Harris.
shirt, I do have others available.
Yeah, he won on the 5th
Of December.
Wow. And that's a shirt and
A shirt and a bevel towel.
bevel towel. That dude, wow. Let's give something away, just so Jake isn't the last person we gave something away to. What else do we have? We got one more small thing, or no?
I mean, the best I could do is I could give away a collection of 3 towels.
3 towels.
All 3 towels
and
tonight.
a Greg Barsby
Oh,
card.
there you go. So this is the large Smashbox towel that I spoke of earlier. We've already given one away. So we've got a large towel. We've got a disc golf guy towel. And we've got one more bevel towel. And then that will go along with the Greg Barsby card.
Greg Barsby card.
So this will be the second to last giveaway. The last one of the night will, in fact, be a Keen shoe card, where you will get a free pair of Keens found on their website.
All right, let's go back to random.org. I mean, the good thing is Jake can't win anymore. I didn't resort it.
Okay, that's fine.
So it's still by first name.
And if you won earlier in the night, so that rules out Jake, Luke,
104.
Andrew, and Jeff. Jeff Hungerford was the other one that we had tonight.
Nathaniel F. Duttile. Dutile. Nathaniel Duttile.
Nathaniel.
It's a new name.
Yes. Why is Jake rich?
He's Patreon rich.
He's Patreon. Jake has won somewhere between 3 and 5 times here in 2017. That's why. It's ridiculous. Big putt Bill trying to give $20 or list $20. I'm not sure what he's doing. But Jake, we can Bill, we can make things happen, my friend. It's not an auction. Oh, I forgot to mention this. So you guys, the few that are listening now, likely next week, I am going to create a sale on Facebook. I'm going to have somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 items. I'm going shopping in my own storage facility. I'm going to grab 50 items. I may have to come do it here. I may need a helper in Johnny V. And I'm going to have, again, somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 items. There's going to be discs. There's going to be towels. There's going to be shirts. There's going to be hats. There's going to be sport sacks. You name it. There may be Pro Tour cards. I don't know. There might be shoes. There's going to be all sorts of things. I'm going to have somewhere around 30 to 50 items. And I'm going to just fire through them. And you're going to be able to claim them. So I think I've seen this done like LuLaRoe, like flash sales and some other sales. But I'm going to do it live on Facebook and rifle through them. The first person to claim that item, I'll have them all itemized. I'll have them all numbered. And then keep track of it. And then I'm going to go through all these different items. There's going to be collectibles. There's going to be stock stuff. I'm going to try and pull from a lot of different things. I may have some bags. I may Josh Anthon's. Sure, I'll put one of those in there. The first $500 takes it. But I'll have all these different items, and I'm more excited than anything to just assemble this collection of randomness. I may have old school. I'm gonna have old school stuff, new school stuff, super highly collectible stuff, along with stuff maybe you could buy anywhere else. It's going to be a mixture of things, and I'm really excited to see how this goes. And if this goes well, I could see doing it more frequently. And I'm always going to have this opportunity to keep it fresh because I've got a lot of really cool random items. So look for that. Is Facebook my best bet?
I think Facebook is your best bet.
I'm going to create an actual event, invite people, like kind of make it a big to-do. Or maybe just our Smashies will know about it and no one else. So you guys can get all the goods. No. I wanted to make it a big to-do, and I want people to tune in, and I'm interested to see how it's going to go. I don't want to do it in an auction style because I think that would be far too messy, obviously, with a ton of items. I don't know if I just want a fixed price in my head or a fixed price written down and say the first person to hit the fixed price, or that's almost auction like.
That's called an auction.
No, well, yeah, not if the fixed price is reasonable. Because I don't. If I'm thinking $20 for this disc in my head, and someone immediately says 25, I'll claim it. I would just sell it to them.
I don't know.
I got to think about the format. So I'm looking for feedback, but that's the plan. So Dad's Drunk said, this sounds legal. Yeah, it'll be totally legal. There's actually no reason why it wouldn't be. Maybe. It'll be some. Ryan, great question. You say auction or set prices. I'm going to have to come up with set prices. Maybe I just put a price on there and then say first person to hit that the first person that says they'll pay that price or you're committing to it. I guess that's kind of probably how I'll do it. Matthew says, I wonder how I can buy without Facebook. I'm not sure. You won't have to be a Facebook friend, Cool One, or Matthew. You'll have to be on Facebook, but you won't have to be a friend of mine. I'll
make it public.
Make it a public. Yeah, I'll make it a public video. Anyway, so I've been excited to talk about that. Pretty random.
Cool. That's good.
Cool One says, I unfriended you. Just do raffles. It's the only way to do it legally. I'm not so sure about that one.
I don't know if any of it's
I
legal.
think that's quite the opposite. That doesn't mean I don't participate. All right. Sounds a lot like a reserve to me. Yeah, there is. Yeah, I don't know. Does SmashBoxx have an online store? We kind of just talked about that, Jeremy. We really don't. We've talked about various items and the best way to get them out there or not. And we'll probably have some form of solution in 2018 for a full-blown store.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
All right. So I guess the question to you guys out there, is there anything else we need to talk about, or do you want us just to give away the Keens and then call it a night? Because when we give away the Keens, we're pretty much going to be calling it a night. So I don't know if there's anything else to do out there that needs to be talked about. Dad's Drunk says that's just called selling stuff. I'm going to try and find some ways to spice it up, make it a little bit more interesting. Raffle tickets to me. Yeah, I don't want to get into the whole raffle thing that way. I need to ease into this simply. I don't have much else.
I don't know either. Author Eyes is saying I am Murdoch Locke.
No, he told me he was, but then he said he wasn't.
Okay. Because that's who won.
Correct. Murdoch Locke won
right.
the $60 valued cards, which is pretty ridiculous. So we gave away just tonight. We've given away 60. I don't know, with the Keen card included, let's just say you get $120 pair of Keens. It's like kind of in the middle on their site. 120. We're giving away like $250 worth of stuff here tonight. Thank you guys for being Patreon supporters.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. I know we say it almost every week, but it's because of you guys that we are able to continue to do what we do at the rate that we do it. You make it worth our while. It's an honor that you take the time and your hard-earned money and give us a small portion of it.
I am so confused. Murdoch Locke says, I won my own card pack and Terry is shafting you guys. But isn't, I'm so lost. What? Author Eyes just do it as trivia. Oh my gosh. All right. So I'm totally confused. Tom, are you or are you not? Oh, okay. Well, then we'll give it away again.
Yeah.
Terry,
I need you.
I thought you said. Oh, I'm so confused. Okay, so we're giving them away again.
All right.
Murdoch Locke, what are the odds of that? We have 158 Patreon supporters. The person we draw is the person giving something away. All right, fine. Redraw.
We are going to redraw for the cards. Murdoch Locke, I need to change your name. I have it written down here. That's really funny. Yeah, see, this is what happens when we rely on Terry for things.
Clearly, I should not be involved.
All right, so it's not going to be Murdoch Locke. I guarantee that. All right, cool. So let me make sure.
Here we go.
All right, so let's show it. Wow. Here we go. 1 to 158.
And it can't be anyone else who's already won tonight.
113. Murdoch. No, I'm just kidding. Richard Sassaman.
There you go.
So Richard Sassaman will get the cards. Thank you, Murdoch Locke.
Or Tom.
Or Tom, or that's funny.
Okay.
All right. Cool. All right, Richard Sassaman. I need to make sure that's written down. That's great. Wow.
I misread. I think I asked offline if are you kidding me? And you said nope. Okay. I somehow misread.
Oh, that's so funny.
It's
158 people, and we nailed the one guy who wants
the
to give
one
stuff away.
guy.
You get to win your own stuff. So, all right, let's give away the Keens then.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready to call it here. All right, so we're gonna give away a free Keen card, which I don't physically. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to show you the code because then everyone would try and use it. But this will be for a free Keen shoe card. Sometimes they make you go in and create an account if you don't already have one. So if you want to be more secure of doing it, we'll talk offline, and it might be easier for me to order them to your house. You can pick them. I just may need to order them to you because sometimes there's a waiting process in signing up on the site. So I don't want that to be held up. So let's give away the free Keen card, and then we're going to call it a night.
We're totally going to call it a night. All right,
we'll
so as
see
we
you
can
in
see,
2018.
I'm going to refresh the random.org page, do 158. Whoa. That's a big fat finger. 158. We hit generate. Number 10.
Number 10. Did you shuffle them? I didn't hear you.
I did not shuffle the names. Number 10 is Anthony Furrow. F-E-R-R-O. Anthony Furrow won the Keen shoes.
That's different than the Anthony Ferrat?
Right above that, you see is Anthony Ferrat.
Oh, my God.
We have two guys.
Super crystal clear.
As you can see,
okay.
Two different people.
All right.
So, yeah. Congratulations.
Okay.
That was awesome.
Done. Super crystal clear.
Super crystal clear. Yeah, Anthony Farrow, who I'm looking at our list, has been a Patreon supporter since 6/1 of 2017.
Thank you.
F-A-U-R-O. Anthony Ferrat has been a Patreon supporter since February 8th of 2017.
And thank you as well.
So thank you. So congratulations, both Anthonys.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody who gave something. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. It's, yeah. Maybe we'll rethink giveaways moving forward.
No way.
It's become so challenging. All right. I'm going to close it out because I think we're all good to go. I would like to thank everybody here in 2017, all of you supporters, all the people that log in, whether you watched us live, whether you downloaded and listened to us, whether you fast-forwarded through us entirely just to listen to other good, smarter, better guests. Any of that we'll take. We appreciate all of it. We'd like to thank all of our guests throughout this year. So many of these people get reached out to on Monday or Tuesday and then asked to be on a show a few hours later, or people like Bobby Brown show up tonight and had no idea he was going to be on the show, and I just randomly called on him. All of our regular contributors, we immediately think of Dana, Zoe, Disc Golf Nerd, along with Paul Ulibarri. All those are our most regular contributors, so thank you to all of them. And thank you to Johnny V and all of our families and everyone that puts up with us as we come in and create a little ruckus for a few hours every Tuesday night. So with that being said, it's been an awesome 2017. Can't promise 2018 will be any better, but we'll be there and we're going to try.
I'd love to say it can't be worse, but we can find a new bottom.
Just show up late next Tuesday and we'll prove it to you. So for 2017 and beyond, for Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, we love you. We love our Smashies, and we'll see you next time when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the SmashBoxxTV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.